Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
Championship so close you can taste it. Oliver Askew has won the Freedom 100. Side by side. And your new champion, Rasmussen.
Welcome, race fans, to Road to Indy TV Live. I'm your host, Parker Thompson, and I'm here with Series Development Director Rob Howden on a brisk Wisconsin afternoon at Road America, one of the favorites on the calendar. Rob, how's it feel to be back?
I love this racetrack. I think everybody else does. One of the things I really love about Road America is we get lots of overtaking. Some of the other tracks we go to, a little tougher to pass on here. So many chances to overtake.
Well, and that's why the fans love this place. I mean, for the drivers, it's one of the hardest laps to put together for qualifying. And then in the race, you're never down and out. I mean,
that's very true. Yeah.
Myself as a driver, I've had some pretty terrible starts here where I've started back in the pack and I've got on the podium. So it's one of those races I think everybody looks forward to.
Well, you hold your breath in turn number 1 at the start for sure. Everybody goes 3-4 wide. You were involved in an incident there last year. I should not have brought that up. I apologize.
Oh, don't even worry about it. It's all good.
But then the next run down to turn number 5, the same thing. We normally see people start to maybe single file them by 6 and 7. That's when things get to get nasty, when people have to kind of dive in at 7. We saw an incident last year there as well.
Well, and not a lot of people realize, but the front straightaway here at Road America is incredibly narrow.
Very true.
And a lot of the places, yes, it gets wide. Like on the back run into 5, it starts out fairly wide, but then as you kind of get into the bend, as you prep for turn 5, you're doing, in the USF cars, you're doing 150, 160 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Indy Lights, you're doing 170. It narrows up pretty quick.
It does. And it's a downhill braking zone, too, which is very interesting, right? Because obviously it lengthens the braking zone. Talk about the braking. I want to ask you about this because I got a chance to be in Greg DeGeorge's symmetric sim.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, trying to get me to get that really hard initial brake stab and then roll off it. And I just couldn't get a feel for it. It's something really interesting, I think.
Well, peak pressure, now every car reads a little bit different depending on how the team has it set up, and it also depends on if it's reading off the front bias or the rear bias. So teams can choose what they want to be reading. Most teams read off of the front calipers. But I was hitting brakes in USF and Indy Pro cars at about 1,500 pounds going into turn 5. Wow. And the unbelievable part, you brought up a great point, it's downhill, but there's so much grip. And I don't even know how to explain it. All I know is the 2-board is what we brake at in qualifying.
That's what he was telling me, yeah.
Which is ridiculous. I mean, it's one of the longest straightaways on the road to Indy. You go to Indianapolis, you'd never think of going past the 3-board. What I mean by boards, every track, it's feet.
Yeah.
So it's feet from the apex. So when I talk 2-board, it's the 200 feet from the apex. So if you think about it, braking at the 2-board is ridiculous, where at Indianapolis, you wouldn't think of going past a 3 or even like the 3.5 part.
Interesting. That's crazy. But then get through that left, back up the hill, and then blind corner, turn number 6. It's wild for sure.
It is wild.
Lap here's amazing.
As you can hear, the wind is going to play a big part. We're
back.
It's pretty cool. Trackside at Road America. We're right above the podium, which is awesome. This is going to be great for the Road to Indy TV fans because we get to have the drivers come right up after their champagne soaked. But we think about the wind at our backs. That's going to create some awesome passing. More wind on the face of the cars, which is down the front straight.
All the way to 1, yeah.
That is going to create a nice little draft for everybody behind it as they're punching a hole.
And let's talk about that. Who's going to start up front? Because I'll tell you, D-Force Racing have been amazing here in USF2000. Kiko Porto with a couple of poles. He'll start P1 here, a win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I always say this mid-season race here at Road America, the rookies kind of step up, but also the veterans a chance to really get in here. You win a couple of races here, you set the momentum for the rest of the season, I think.
Well, and let's talk about Kiko Porto for a couple seconds because I feel like he's been an underdog when he shouldn't have been.
That's true.
He has kind of flown under the radar. I called it at the start of the year. I wasn't happy that his teammates came into his team and started beating him.
That's true. Yep.
He started to flex some muscle. And really, Rob, this is when you want to hit your momentum.
Agreed,
this race, Road to Indy calendar, besides last year in 2020 where we started our season, this is usually about the direct halfway point, which 2021, this is the halfway point for all our Road to Indy championships. So what better way to kick off the halfway point than 2 poles for Kiko?
Yeah, Kiko, as I said, won at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That gave him the confidence. Now we are at Road America, a couple of poles. Man, the only thing about it is you're not guaranteed to win from pole here. If you're at Barber Motorsports Park, you start on pole, you're probably going to be in the fight for a podium. Not so here because you can get bad.
100%. But the nice thing for Kiko is he's got his teammates starting right with him.
Very true.
I mean, Nolan Siegel had a great run. You've got Prescott Campbell, who in qualifying too, it was 1, 2, 3 D-Force. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
What a D-Force domination.
Big time.
Qualifying 1 though, they locked out the front row, which is looking pretty good. But let's talk about those Cape guys, because they're not going down easy.
Well, Michael D'Orlando got the big win at the Freedom 75 at Lucas Oil Raceway, so he's full of confidence right now. Coming back here to Road America, he qualified P3, so he's in the championship fight. He's tied with Christian Brooks for 3rd spot in points. But Spike Kohlbecker, the young rookie for Ignite Autosport with Cape Motorsports, to me, I always say this is the race where the rookies can kind of get into the spotlight. They've been able to work through the kinks, get to learn the car, learn the team, learn the series. This is halfway through. It's time for the rookies to step up, and Spike Kohlbecker, P4 in qualifying, I think he's done that.
He has done that. And D'Orlando, coming off of a great run at Lucas Oil Raceway, I always say it, to get momentum on the road to Indy, all you need is one performance, and it can really it can change a season.
Especially for young guys like this, when your confidence is kind of teetering back and forth. Every race you have to do good. If you have a bad race, you may get down. That's the mental side that they're learning here in the first rung of the road to Indy. But when you come in with confidence, you can go for wins.
Exactly. It's one of his best qualifyings, besides qualifying on pole at Lucas Oil Raceway. D'Orlando's always kind of been the comeback kid this year. He's qualified outside the top 10, and we've seen him on the podium. Let's see what he can do in 3rd.
No doubt.
That's looking pretty good.
We're getting close. Ready to go racing.
We are getting close. We're ready to go racing.
Baby. We're 10 minutes away from the command.
We're 10 minutes away from the command, but the cool part about this race is we're in Wisconsin. We're not just here for the racing. We're here for the entertainment.
I love it.
You've got Seepkins Resort down the road where you can see a bunch of IndyCar guys. I was there last night. It was pretty cool to see.
I had a double brat for breakfast.
A double brat for breakfast. They serve cheese curds year-round here. And then not to mention that, you've got camping all around the track as well. What's even cooler about Wisconsin, though, elite engines.
Home track.
Our engine builders for the Road to Indy, the first two steps of the ladder in USF and Indy Pro, are built by Steve and Logan Knapp at Elite Engines, which is just down the road here in Wisconsin. Let's check in with them and see what they're up to for 2021. For episode 2 of Talking Tech with Thompson, we're going to go find the Road to Indy's engine builder, Steve Knapp of Elite Racing Engines, who builds the USF2000 and the Indy Pro engines. I've heard some updates in the new Indy Pro engine for 2021. Let's go get the first word from him. So Steve, on the dyno, when you put this engine compared to the 2020, what differences can you see?
Well, actually, within lowering the RPM band, if you overlaid the car between 55 and 8, it's virtually the same as what it was before. It has a lot more power below that. Our whole intent on lowering the rev band was obviously reliability. The camshafts have changed the tone of the engine, and it's made it much more pleasant for all of us on pit lane and the spectators too, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure IndyCar appreciates that a lot on these race weekends. We, in Indy Pro, we're known for bursting people's eardrums at most of the races, so that is good news. A lot of people don't know Elite Engines behind the scenes. How many engines do you build per year for the Road to Indy series between both USF2000 and Indy Pro?
Well, between the two series, we have probably 60 engines out there altogether. We'll do 45 builds a year, something like that for the Road to Indy. The Road to Indy has always been my heart. I love the Speedway. I love the Indy 500. I've always been an open wheel nut. So this is like my passion, you know. When I leave the racetrack, that's when I go to work. And you can ask my wife. She doesn't see me much until we get back to the next race. But I'm not complaining. I love it. I wouldn't do anything else, and I won't want to be anywhere else.
Well, thank you, Steve. It's great. Hopefully we gave some more insight on Elite Racing Engines for the 2021 Road to Indy fans.
Your uncle, I want you to know that on the road of life, there will be rough spots, and they will chew up your tires. I recently took a road trip to Greensville to attend a chili cook-off. Rough roads all the way down. I drove there on these Cooper Discoverer and Duramax tires. You know, they're made with the durability of off-road tires, but for on-road driving. Without them, we might never know the winning bean-to-meat ratio of a good chili. And those are the things in life, my friend, worth driving towards. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! I'm hungry now.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
For our third driver profile of 2021 on the road to Indy, we are here with one of the youngest stars in the road to Indy. At 16 years old, he's already in his third season of USF2000, a multiple pole sitter, a multiple podium finisher, Nolan Siegel. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm great now that I get to talk to you. So, Nolan, take me through, at 16 years old, how did you get your start?
Well, I started in go-karts like I think many people on the road to Indy. The first time I drove a Formula car was when I was 13 for right on my 13th birthday, I think. And I went through a regional Formula 3 series at the Sim Raceway Formula 3 school, won the championship there, and came to my first year of USF2000 when I was 14. It was a tough first year. I mean, I didn't quite know what I was getting into. There was a lot of really strong competition, but I learned so much that first year. I think that was like the biggest learning year of my career. I think it really prepared me for last year and then coming into this season to be in a position where I can fight for a championship.
What drew you to the road to Indy out of karts? I mean, a young kid, there's so many places to go. What was like, okay, the road to Indy is for me?
IndyCar has always been kind of I've always watched IndyCar and I've always wanted to be an IndyCar driver, and this is a really direct path, and you can just see how much you get to interact with all the IndyCar teams and drivers, and it's a clear path to that series.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're based out of California, is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct, just outside of San Francisco.
So, at 16, what is your favorite track so far?
I've got to say, my favorite track, although we don't race it this year, was Laguna Seca that first season, especially just being my home race. The whole atmosphere was great, and the track is super fun to drive.
So, looking on to it, I have to say for 16 years old, there's a lot of stickers on that car. You've been able to cultivate a lot of sponsor support. Take me through that at 16 years old, like, unbelievable.
Well, so when I started at Sonoma Raceway, there were a lot of people that were interested in my career as a young driver, and a lot of people wanted to get involved. So it's been really great just meeting all these people that have been willing to sponsor the car and put their company logos on the car. And yeah, just big thank you to everyone that's helped me along the way.
We'll finish this conversation off with a goal for 2021 for you.
Obviously, the main goal is to win the championship, but right now my smaller goal is just to get my first race win.
Fantastic. Well, it's coming. We know it.
As your uncle, I want you to know that on the road of life, there will be rough spots, and they will chew up your tires. I recently took a road trip to Greensville to attend a chili cook-off. Rough roads all the way down. I drove there on these Cooper Discoverer and Duramax tires. You know, they're made with the durability of off-road tires, but for on-road driving. Without them, we might never know the winning bean-to-meat ratio of a good chili. And those are the things in life, my friend, worth driving towards. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! I'm hungry now.
road to Indy. Of course, we had an open test session on Thursday, practice and qualifying all day yesterday, and started today off, of course, with qualifying for Indy Pro 2000 and Indy Lights as well. But now it's finally time to go wheel-to-wheel racing. We have 6 different events for you here on Saturday and Sunday, double headers for USF2000, Indy Pro, and of course Indy Lights. Behind me right now, 25 drivers of the very first rung of the road to Indy. It's the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship. Let's take a time now to have a look at the grid as these drivers get set to go. Starting in the 25th position, an incident in qualifying puts him at the tail of the field. Michael Myers for the Michael Myers Racing Team in the number 42. He'll start in 25th. Row 12 will have Kent Vaccaro, the rookie in the number 16 for Miller Vinatieri Motorsports. He'll be on the outside, and on the inside from Illinois, it's Evan Stammer in the Ignite Autosport with Cape Motorsports, number 3. Moving now to row number 11 on the outside. In fact, it's an all-New Zealand row number 11 on the outside. Billy Fraser for Exclusive Autosport in the number 91. And on the inside, Peter Vidanovich in the number 9 for Jay Howard Driver Development. Row number 10, 19th and 20th on the outside. One of our rookies, a very interesting story, young driver who runs 410 sprint cars as well as jumping here into the road to Indy. He's got 2010 USF2000 champion Sage Karam coaching him here today. Trey Burke in the number 63 for Joe Dueling Autosport. He'll start in the 20th spot. Inside of that row, out of New York, running for Force Indy in the number 99, the rookie Miles Rowe, starting in 19th. Moving now to row number 9 on the outside. Eric Evans in the number 29 for Velocity Racing Development. He'll start on the outside of that row. On the inside from Avon, Indiana for Jay Howard Driver Development, it's Jackson Lee, the rookie, in the number 8. Row number 8. Let's continue to move forward for Legacy Autosport, 2-time SCCA National Championship winner at the runoffs here at Road America last year for Legacy Autosport, starting 16th, the number 19 of Simon Sykes. Inside of Sykes, the driver who won the Lucas Oil School of Racing Formula Car Series last year. He's got the scholarship colors on the number 1 for D-Force Racing. Eli Navarro will start 15th. Moving now to row number 7 on the outside. It'll be a turn 3 Autosport driver. That is Dylan Christie in the number 34. Christie starting 14th. Inside of that row, Thomas Nepvu out of Canada, Quebec, Canada for Cape Motorsports, the rookie in the number 2, starting 13th. Moving now to row number 6 on the outside. Christian Brooks, 3rd place in points for Exclusive Autosport. The Californian won both races at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. He'll be a deep start here for Brooks. He'll have to turn it up to try to work his way forward. The 44 starting in 12th. Inside of that row for Jay Howard Driver Development, Bajoy Garg in the number 6. Moving now to row number 5 into the top 10 outside from England. It's Matt Round-Garrido in the number 92 for Exclusive Autosport. Inside of that row, the rookie, impressive for Pabst Racing in the 23. It's Jace Denmark. We'll go down to row number 4 on the outside, starting in the 8th position. Turn 3 Motorsports, Josh Green out of Mount Kisco, New York in the 33. Second-year driver starting 8th. Inside of that row, another second-year driver out of Oregon, the number 24 for Pabst Racing. That is Josh Pearson. Going now to row number 3, the drivers that were able to get the season started with victories at Barber Motorsports Park. Prescott Campbell on the outside in the number 11 for D-Force Racing. And on the inside, Yuvan Sundaramurthy, the point leader out of Delafield, Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin driver in the number 22, starting 5th. Row number 2 will have Spike Kohlbecker, the rookie for Ignite Autosport with Cape Motorsports. Very impressive for Kohlbecker, the rookie, starting 4th. Inside of that row is Cape Motorsports teammate, the winner of the Freedom 75 a couple of weeks ago. It is Michael D'Orlando starting 4th. 25 drivers in the field, put 2 on the front row. Both drivers from D-Force Racing. They got a great car here this weekend, starting on the outside of the front row from Palo Alto, California. In the number 10, it's Nolan Siegel, but the driver getting the pole position, a 2:10.789 fast lap. The Brazilian Kiko Portal starting on the pole position. A victory already this year on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He'll be on the pole tomorrow as well, but Portal looking to get his 2nd race win of the year. Folks, time to fire things up right now as we get set to go. Time for the command to fire the engines, and we are close to the home of our engine suppliers, Elite Engines. They provide the engines and build the engines for both Indy Pro and USF2000, the home base in West Bend, Wisconsin. Joining me down here on pit lane to give me the command, Logan Knapp.
Road to Indy drivers, start your Elite Engines.
And with that, engines come to life down here on pit lane. Logan Knapp giving the call to fire up the engines that he helped build here in Wisconsin. USF2000, race 1 set to go.
Thank you very much, Rob Howden. And Greg, let's take a look again, just to kind of recap with qualifying sessions. Obviously, Kiko turned in what a great performance there in qualifying. Really late on the quick lap to set pole today.
And backed it up. He did both poles, and as did everybody in the Road to Indy. Everybody got double poles, but it was a superb lap. But I think one of the impressive ones was Nolan Siegel in that number 10 entry. Just an incredible run for the D-Force Racing entry, as Rob mentioned, a sweep of the front row. But Nolan comes in here 9th in the points. His second was his best finish. He did that at the second round at Barber. But struggling a bit in the points, this is going to be a huge confidence boost for him to be able to start up on that front row.
And Yuvan Sundarmudi going to start on the inside of row number 3, but he's got a lot of experience here. Ran in the June sprints here just a couple of weeks ago, as well as obviously ran in the runoffs. And last year was kind of a force to be reckoned with. Up in the top 5 here, it's a great qualifying effort for Pabst Racing at their home track. They're obviously been a little bit on the struggle bus this weekend. Haven't had quite the top pace, but still a 2:11, 3:9, 6:8. Good for 5th on the grid for Yuvan Sundarmudi. But I would expect that team to perform much better here in race conditions.
Yeah, they know this place. They know what needs to happen during the course of a race, and I think you're absolutely right. That's going to be a real opportunity for them. And Jace Denmark also doing a nice job with his qualifying run as well. Josh Pearson as well. So they're in there. They're up in that top 10. And as you said, Eric, they race well here.
We talked quite a bit during the qualifying sessions about how qualifying up front incredibly important. But again, Road America is such a long race course, 4-mile lap, 14 corners from 5 to 14. It's really a tight racetrack. You really don't think of it that way because of the 3 very long straightaways, but you have a very tight cornering situation from 5 to 6 to 7 to 8. And then you do have obviously 9 through 12, which is stretched out, but you do have quite a bit of unloaded cornering in the carousel, falling away downhill off camber. The kink is the kink, I mean, one of the most famous corners in all of motorsports. And Canada Corner can be very unforgiving too.
Very much so. And the interesting thing is, this is one of those tracks, we've talked about it. If you're not up in those first 2 rows, you don't panic too much, because you think about it. Turn 3, turn 5, turn 8, Canada, all great overtaking areas if you get the run through the preceding corner. And 3, people don't think about 3 too much here, but it's a huge corner because, one, it's an overtake corner opportunity, tighter than you think it is. But the exit of 3 is massive because it sets you up for something down into turn 5, and that's really, really crucial. And you see that with all these great. That's one of the the things that's always fascinated me about this track, Eric, is every corner that you have is a great overtaking into it. Is also you got to get the exit right because it sets you up for that next great overtaking corner. 3 into 5, 8 into 12. It's crucial.
The only corner that truly is a corner that presents an overtaking opportunity on the next straightaway is turn 14, very honestly, because if you look at all of the major playing corners, 3, even 1 to some certain degree, you don't think of it, but 1 is actually downhill as well. 1 is a downhill in the break, 3 is downhill in the break, 5 is downhill in the break, 8 is downhill to break, 12 is a flat bottom corner, and then you come to 14, and that's the only corner where you're actually coming off the corner, but you are still coming downhill into 14 in that break zone, coming from the crest of 13 into 14. So all of the major overtaking points in this racetrack, all are downhill corners.
Absolutely. Downhill braking, unsighted apexes for some of them. It's just really impressive. And you have to think that Cliff Tuftsy and the gang, when they were designing this place, were twisting their mustaches going, how can we challenge these drivers? And you think about it, even without the bridge, Billy Mitchell turn, fast in, blind. High commitment stuff here.
Absolutely. And we've got one of those situations where a lap here is all about the rhythm, maintaining rhythm and pace. And once again, we're letting him catch his breath, but you were like a man on a mission.
He broke the tape.
Time.
I could see him break the tape.
I got a golf cart. I got a golf cart ride today.
Okay, all right. I was just going to say, you're like breaking the track record up here. That's pretty quick.
Getting set to go for USF2000. The D-Force drivers climbing the hill. Nolan Siegel on the outside, Kiko Porto on the inside. Always an exciting start here. Our first wheel-to-wheel racing, and we are getting set to go. Green, green, green. Racing up into turn number 1. We'll watch them fan out. D-Force drivers getting down to the wall. Not quite enough, though. Look for Kohlbecker or D'Orlando to try to tuck in. 2, maybe 3 wide further back in the pack. Trying to go 2 wide through turn number 1. Clean thus far. USF2000 driver settling in back down the hill to turn number 3. You can see the 2 drivers from Cape Motorsports now running 3rd and 4th as well. Josh Pearson fighting to work his way forward here early.
3 wide, middle of the pack in turn 3. Greg was talking about that passing opportunity, especially here on the opening lap. And a little bit of agricultural work right at Sargento coming through to the Marine sweep here.
Shouldn't be a surprise, right?
Oh, look at this. 3 abreast down into 5 for just a minute. And that looks like D'Orlando has picked up a spot, gone right around the outside of Nolan Siegel.
A couple drivers getting shoveled to the outside of the racetrack here as well. The other side of the Rumbles. One of them was the 34, Dylan Christie. Look at this move to the inside. Comes, I believe, that is D'Orlando diving in there big time, and Spike Kohlbecker. So, yeah, Cape Motorsports has gone to 2nd and 3rd, so moves Siegel in that number 11 back to 4th. He was the first driver that got on the outside of the Rumbles.
And Siegel didn't really have a very good entry into 6. We got 2 cars backwards off of 7. Looks like some minimal contact, both cars underway. That's about as lucky as you're going to get in turn 7.
Yeah, I looked over at my live timing for a second. You talk about turn 7, I'm thinking it's going to be a huge wreck because that's what happens there. A high commitment corner, very quick, flat out here with the drivers in USF2000, and it doesn't take much. That's kind of the corner where they're finally into that single file, right? They can still go double file up to 6. Once they get to 7, you really got to give it up. Some drivers will get aggressive to the inside, try to hold their spot, but if you're not there, you got to give it up, get in line, and go back to racing. How about 2, 3 wide in the cattle bottoms as well?
We had a couple side-by-side in the King.
That's
Talk
a no-no.
about commitment.
No, thank you.
You don't think that they go over that in the engineering room? Do not go side-by-side in the kink.
Well, Siegel just did not get a very good launch out of 3 as he was kind of tucked to the inside and trying to defend from D'Orlando, and that really cost him in the end into 5.
You see
There's
that
a
chop,
big
Greg?
chop at 14.
Big chop across. I'm not sure which driver it was, but came right across the bow, I think, of Josh Pearson. Field streaming. We'll give you the top 10 when they come across the line to get things underway. Kiko Porto, indeed the leader. Michael D'Orlando running in the 2nd spot. I believe that's Spike Kohlbecker in 3rd. Indeed, Nolan Siegel 4th, Josh Green 5th, Yuvan Sundermurthy in 6th by Christian Brooks from 12th up into 7th. Great opening lap for Brooks. Simon Sykes up to the 8th position as well. Sykes started 16th. What a start for Simon Sykes. Bajoy Garg in 9th, and Prescott Campbell, who started in 6th. He fell back a couple of spots in the D-Force racing machine, but great start for Brooks.
It was, and I mean, he's 3rd in the points,
Yeah.
tied for 3rd in the points, so
Crucial.
starting that far back, that was huge to make up that kind of ground first lap.
Indeed, because you can go to work now, right? There's the front 2 guys pulled away, Porto and D'Orlando. Let's try to pick up Brooks. There he is right there in the red and white exclusive Autosport number 44. So a really strong start for him, and now he'll go to work on trying to find a way by Sundermurthy and Josh Green. Yeah, it's actually Josh Green in front of him right now. Sundermurthy a little further forward. Great shot here at turn number 6, side by side. Oh, it's Billy Fraser. Fraser with contact. Someone dove to the inside of Fraser at turn number 6, and up in the air he went. I got to think he's probably,
He left his wing in the gravel
that's
there.
That's it. Lost the front wing. Billy Fraser, some driver just dove to the inside. Not sure who it was. Who was behind Fraser? Potentially Eric Evans tried to make a move to the inside of 6 and didn't quite get it done. And that's a turn, Eric. You've got to get inside and have that position. Otherwise, the contact is going to be your fault.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those where you've got to be at least almost to the mirrors at that point.
Agreed.
Because of the commitment. It's a blind corner, so the car on the outside with that early turn and to try to make that 90-degree apex, your car's unloading, you're under braking, it's very light in the rear, and you've got to make sure that you're in that position to make sure you clear it. A little contact there in Canada.
That's some aggressive racing as well. I want to say that might have been Josh Green and Yuvan Sundermurthy potentially going at it there, coming up out of Canada into turn number 12. They're up to 13 now. Getting rolling here with USF2000, our first of 6 Road to Indy races here on the weekend. Of course, we'll follow this up with the
Full
drivers
course yellow.
in USF2000. Indeed, yeah, full course yellow. As you said, 12 lapper here for drivers in USF2000. Full course yellow. We'll try to figure out exactly the reason for the incident right now.
Would it be for that wing sitting in the runoff up at turn 6?
I wouldn't
wouldn't
think so. I wouldn't think
I
so.
don't know what else may have happened here.
Well, AMR's safety truck is in the gravel trap for sure. Safety making the attendance to the gravel trap. It is possible, though, with being such a large piece of debris, though, if somebody sails off into there, it could maybe get punted. So I guess that may be a safer choice there for the moment. The advantage here, though, is once the field is collected by the safety car, they'll be picked up in turn 5. If it is just for that wing up in that area, unless there's a car up there.
I was going to say, right up by the tire barrier, I see.
Yeah, there's a car up there that we didn't see before. Yeah, somebody's actually up against the tire barrier.
All right, then.
Well, that makes sense.
Two drivers. That might have been Jace Denmark then. So is Jace Denmark potentially that made the move, I wonder, on the inside of Fraser, unless that was another incident. All right, we're gonna get a little bit of a look at a replay here to find out what happened up there in turn number 6. So here's the shot from 7.
Top of the screen.
Yeah, there's Fraser.
Wheel contact.
Yeah, that's
he got up in the air.
Yeah.
And indeed that's actually Fraser in the wall. That's Billy Fraser in the tires. The driver who came out, which I thought was Fraser, was Eric Evans. So that's the issue there, I believe. Yeah, so Evans was able to come back out, currently runs 18th. That's Billy Fraser. You can see as we got a lot closer there. Fraser, the Kiwi, in the wall on the outside of row number 5. It wasn't a aggressively hard hit, but yeah, the contact there.
And Fraser went up and over, obviously, Evans' wing.
Yeah. We couldn't see that really from the vantage point we were looking at. I had thought that was actually Fraser that was coming out of the corner.
All right, let's take a look at it again. If you watch very closely here, you're going to see him get a little bit of air there.
Oh yeah, he got quite a bit of air. He's probably the front, at least 4 or 5 feet in the air. Exactly right. You can see him out off the end of the pavement there and sliding off.
I hear that affects your ability to turn.
Exactly that.
The contact patch on the 2 front tires is not that big to start with, and when you eliminate that, it makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. So the front wing, which we thought was actually Fraser's, I think was Eric Evans's wing, right?
I think you're right.
And then of course Fraser into the wall. It's been a tough weekend for Billy Fraser. Shame to see that happen. A couple other drivers out here early as well. I don't know that we got a lap time for Matt Round-Garrido. So 2 of the exclusive Autosport drivers with issues here. Not sure what happened to Matt Round-Garrido. Started the 10th position, and he is out as well. So not sure there.
And I'll tell you, with Brooks's rocket start and other action out there, points leader Sundar Murthy has dropped to 7th.
Indeed. And think about Christian Brooks, started back where he did. Then he gets a great opening lap. Then he gets the full course yellow. So everybody bunches back up again. So kind of playing into the hands of Christian Brooks here right now as drivers working their way back around here. Hopefully we get another.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll go green this time by. I was trying to look at the driver, the passenger in the pace car to see if they had that one finger up or not.
Not as impressive as Christian Brooks, but still Josh Green, 8th to 5th. In the early going and getting around Sundar Murthy, so good start for Josh.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Simon Sykes too, as it started back at the 16th spot. He's up in the 8th position, I believe, as well, right?
Well,
yes.
Let's look at the family effort for Michael Myers as well. They started 25th because of their incident in practice where they didn't get a qualifying time up to 17th. So he's making his way through the field as well. But the one person that's kind of going backwards is Prescott Campbell. I think one of the cars that got caught off maybe in that turn 7 incident kind of dropped back, maybe got off track, on that opening lap in turn 7 where they were 2 or 3 wide coming out of 6.
Yeah, I want to say that might have been Campbell and Jace Denmark. Those drivers started up front and both them back. They might have been the drivers that looped around, as you had said, Eric. Good call there. Prescott Campbell in the D-Force number 11, a winner this year at Barber Motorsports Park. Jace Denmark, the rookie, out of Phoenix, Arizona, in the number 23 for Paps. Both those drivers falling down the order. In fact, trying to see who has not picked up another lap yet. We got a couple drivers who are down laps. There goes Prescott Campbell there, I believe, and Kent Vaccaro. Yeah, they're getting their laps in now, 3rd lap in. Yeah, indeed, an issue for Matt Round-Garrido. Looks like he's got 2 laps in. I wonder what's going on with Matt as well. But otherwise, interesting start to the race with the contact that we saw. A little hectic. Let's put it that way.
But aren't they usually here?
Well, a lot of times, they're hectic, but a lot of times this series we go green to checker. We did both of the races on the oval, green to checker, which I was so impressed at Lucas Oil Raceway to be able to get that done in what is very tough conditions and a tough racetrack. Pretty easy to make a mistake there, but green to checker. And we do that quite often with the Road to Indy. This particular racetrack, though, I think, again, I've said this a couple times throughout the weekend, this track is raceable. This is a place you can make passes on. I think people have been itching to be able to go forward, and a lot of guys had trouble in qualifying. Changes your mindset, right? Because you got to go forward quickly.
Absolutely, but we talked about it as well, that this, as you said, a track where you could do it. You've got some great overtaking opportunities here. If you get the run, if you get a good toe, and you execute cleanly, you can get up to it. I mean, just ask Christian Brooks, right?
Indeed that. Christian Brooks will launch from P6 here. Drivers circulating still under the yellow flag. It'll be 8 laps to go when we come back around, I believe. Indeed, we'll get the 4th lap in the books. It's a 12-lap race for USF2000. Indy Pro 2000 drivers have likely brought their cars down to the mock grid right now, as they're going to be up next. Indy Pro will have their event to follow. Then Indy Lights a little later on this afternoon. 3:05 start time for Indy Lights race number 1. 12:10 start time for Indy Pro. So we'll essentially go right from Victory Lane, Titus Victory Lane, right into the driver introductions. And of course the command to fire up the engines in Indy Pro 2000. So press the reset button on the first of 2 races for the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship, as Kiko Porto did a great job at the start, able to get the jump he needed. Nolan Siegel got caught out on the outside, didn't get a good run at a 3, as Eric had mentioned, got caught out on the outside of the racetrack, and the rumbles was actually the far side, the right side of the rumbles, coming into turn number 5, and that lost a couple positions there.
And I'll tell you, how much do you think Kiko Porto is going to be protecting to the inside with this long run up the hill and then flattening out, dropping down into 1, and the opportunity for a toe? It's going to be fascinating to see whether Michael D'Orlando, who we've seen put on some pretty aggressive moves, if he could figure a way to sweep the outside into 1.
This is a precarious place to start on the pole position or start up front on a restart, because as you said, it's such a huge run down the straightaway after getting the green flag when you crest the hill, that it could be D'Orlando, like you said. He could be able to get the double draft coming in. Out of 14, and we're getting back at it here. Kiko Porto punches off. Green flag flying in the air. It'll be 8 laps to go when we come back across the line. 4 down, 8 to go, and here we go. The first run down here on the restart. Christian Brooks, remember, got that good jump up to 6. He's going to tuck in behind Josh Green. And away we go. All the drivers coming across, start, finish. The drivers remaining after the incident.
There it is, side by side through 1.
D'Orlando on the outside of Kiko Porto, trying to hold it through 1. Now down to turn number 2, and still side by side, but to the inside goes Kiko Porto. He'll hold the spot. They'll get a good run out of turn number 3, and look right there as well. Spike Kohlbecker, the rookie, not quite close, but pretty strong there at P3 as well.
I think that was a very savvy move by D'Orlando to say, I'm not going to run the outside here. I want to get in because I don't want to lose that momentum and have Kohlbecker coming up and steaming by me.
Almost looks like Sooner Moody, Brooks, and Green were 3 wide for a moment coming underneath Sargento.
Yeah, that was wild coming down into turn number 5. You see them still fighting it out here up to turn number 6. Good shot here. Hold on. It's still Porto to the outside. Look at D'Orlando trying to run the cushion on the outside of turn number 6. Christian Brooks able to dive up in there as well. Brooks, I think, into P4. Indeed, Brooks up to 4th position already. Great run there for Christian.
D'Orlando and Porto were side by side through 7, still there. Look at this. That's 4 corners now. They've been side by side. Still.
D'Orlando on the inside of the carousel, though. That's going to be good for him. He may come out with the lead at the bottom of the carousel here. Michael D'Orlando still side by side out of the carousel. Kiko Porto, the Brazilian, not giving up at all.
Do these guys realize the kink is next?
Hold your breath, folks. Side by side through the kink.
Unreal.
Wow, these leaders.
We all just flinched.
Wow, all of us just blinked for a minute.
Look at this.
Yeah.
They've been side by side since turn number 5. We have a driver off the racetrack further back in the pack. That might be Michael Myers.
That's a great save.
That was Myers. Through Canada corner right now. We're just waiting to try to see where the leaders are again. This is crazy side-by-side racing, and it's Michael D'Orlando, the Cape Motorsports driver, coming off the victory in the Freedom 75 at Lucas Oil Raceway, guys. He has gone to P1, but that doesn't guarantee anything with another run up the straightaway.
And you know what? For these supposedly crazed young guns that are working up through there, how about that over half a lap? Pure respect.
100%.
Pure respect.
So impressive. Both those drivers, second-year competitors here in the USF2000 series, to be able to do that side-by-side through the kink. Like you said, we all kind of flinched a little bit as they went through the kink side-by-side. And here's Porto back around the outside, booking. Kiko Porto goes back to the lead.
Great toe down the front straightaway. Got a little bit better run out of 14, and now has got about a car length or 2 separation for Porto. But what a great pass to the outside, doing it the long way around in turn 1.
I love this racing right now. This is a tremendous track for these drivers. Everybody lining up behind Christian Brooks as well. That's 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Brooks, Sykes, Sundaramurthy, and then Josh Green. Thomas Nepfu tried to get in there as well. Brooks down to the bottom of the racetrack. Here comes Sykes thinking about the inside. Too wide through turn number 5. I love this camera angle here of them getting hard on the brakes, that downhill braking into turn number 5. And Parker Thompson and I talked about it during the pre-show, guys. He goes, at any other racetrack, let's say it's Indianapolis on the road course, you're braking around the 300 board. Here in 5, you're braking at the 200 board. You're pounding on that brake pedal, getting that big initial brake hit, and then rolling off to get through the corner. It's such a short braking zone, even though it's downhill.
Well, and you've got to get it so right? If you wait too late, you overshoot, you slow up the hill. If you get a little bit too cautious, you're just slow through the corner. And it's a balancing act. It's so many of these braking zones here.
You see how close they were there, Greg. If you're on too late on it, somebody's going to dive to the inside
Absolutely.
and get by you. You've got to be
There's no mercy
to the
here.
very edge. That's it. Back down through the kettle bottoms again. I had mentioned an issue with Matt Round-Garrido. I think Matt may be having transponder trouble, and they're just adding the points. They have him at the tail of the field. But I want to say I saw the exclusive Autosport car.
Ooh!
Who's that? That's the 10. That's Nolan Siegel, I think.
Oh, man. That was a monster save.
So I'll update myself again. So Nolan Siegel just went off there. The driver who went off in the opening lap on the outside was actually Prescott Campbell. That's why he fell back. Car is obviously exactly the same livery. We just got to pick the numbers up. The 10, 11, and 12, the D-Force drivers, and of course the number 1 for their teammate Eli Navarro. Cape Motorsport drivers looking really good out front right now. Michael D'Orlando got pretty aggressive there on that last lap to be able to get the pass. I think they may be running 1-2 right now.
And somehow Nolan hung on to 4th as well with that save. I mean, I didn't see what started it, but when you're in the grass to the driver's right, the exit at 12, something's happened as you're heading into 13.
So Porto has the lead. The 2 Cape drivers, 2nd and 3rd. That is Michael D'Orlando and Spike Kohlbecker. And Kohlbecker, the rookie, like I've said, this Road America race is where rookies can kind of get into the spotlight. And what a podium finish it would be if Kohlbecker's able to get the job done. Christian Brooks now running 5th. Nolan Siegel just ahead of him in 4th. Siegel went off, as we said. I think Siegel's gone back a couple of spots. I believe Christian Brooks and Simon Sykes able to get by. This is the best run we've seen out of Simon Sykes and Legacy Autosport, and I give him props. Again, last year, very successful here at the SCCA National Championship runoffs. To be able to get that, take the success and the knowledge he got from that weekend, and really kind of take that legacy car up into the top 10. Really good run for Simon.
Well, we've talked repeatedly how much track time really benefits these drivers. Anytime that you can find a track and run on it consistently and have a lot of extra track time. Now, that was 9 days of track activity.
Exactly, yeah.
For drivers during the runoffs last year. And as you know, 9 days in a row of being consistent in the car, it's going to do nothing but help you improve.
And I don't think, Eric, there's another racetrack on our schedule where track knowledge helps, because this 14 corners here, all challenging corners, right? If you get 1 or 2 wrong, you're off by half a second, and that puts you in the middle of the pack, right? This is it, to be able to know how to get around this track and to get through the carousel and to hustle through Canada and really get that, the whole 13-14 combination is so hard as well. If you've done it before and you can make, that's Miles Rowe dropping a wheel on the outside, but if you can get that, man, you're almost guaranteed to having more success.
And Nolan Siegel, when he hung on to 4th when he came by, but he's now dropped to 6th. And, of course, he dirtied up those tires, and they're pretty hot. So it took him a while to clean them off. Couldn't get in. Oh, we got somebody off at the exit of 14.
That might be Miles Rowe again, I think. You know what? Probably right what you said there, Greg. He went off in the grass and then come to 14 for the first time. Tires still dirty, and went off in 14. Great point.
And Nolan's off has also created now a sizable gap between 3rd and 4th. And it's really opened up just a little bit here. It's over 2 seconds.
Indeed.
So that lead group of 3 are kind of off into their own little race right now.
That's a great battle further back. We just saw right there as well with Eric Evans and Trey Burke and Kent Vaccaro and Evan Stammer all battling it out there. Back under the Sargento Bridge, you see the gap there between 3rd and 4th. Christian Brooks, who started back in 16th, working his way into P4. I will say this. Okay, let's watch the action. We're still going at it. That's Sooner, Murley, and Siegel and Sykes. I think that Sykes may have lost a spot there, guys. I think maybe Siegel around the outside into turn number 5.
And once Siegel got those tires cleaned off, he's been really quick.
Action into turn 7, hurry downs, field back half of the field kind of strung out a little bit now. Things have seemed to settle down. We kind of see this a lot of times. The very first couple of laps after a restart or the initial start tend to be a little bit frenetic. Contact in turn 8. And
one of the Jay Howard driver development cars goes around. I think that might be Jackson Lee, not quite sure.
That is the 8 car, I do believe.
Yeah, Jackson Lee, someone got into the back of him. That was the rotation. You can see someone obviously getting into his left rear, set the car back around. So a tough one there for Jackson Lee as he's going to fall to the tail of the field. Not sure if there's damage on that car right now, whether he's able to go. Look at this fight right now. That is, I think that's Siegel and Brooks. Indeed, Siegel trying to go around the outside of Christian Brooks. Wow, there's your leader, Porto. D'Orlando, Kohlbecker, Brooks running 4th, Siegel 5th. 6th spot is Sundar Amurthy, your point leader. 7th is Pearson. 8th, Josh Green. 9th, Thomas Nepvu. So we got ourselves a fight right now for P4. Look at that group. Leaders check it out. Your top 3 drivers with 4 to go this time across the line, but we got 5 drivers ready to scrap for the remaining positions inside the top 10.
Well, the frenetic battle for that 4th place is just allowing those top 3 runners to just stretch it out a little bit, and that's kind of what you want to see in your mirrors if you're 3rd place right now, is it gives you the opportunity to kind of just focus ahead and put your head down without having to worry about what's behind you.
You think about the championship battle as well, and the guys that are in it. Sundar Amurthy, Kiko Porto, Christian Brooks tied actually in points right now with Michael D'Orlando. And anytime you come into a race, all you really have to do is beat the point leader, right? That's the primary thing. Beat the point leader, close that gap. Well, Sundar Amurthy back in 8th. Everybody he has behind him is in front of him right now. Kiko Porto has the lead. Kohlbecker in 2nd, Brooks in 4th. As they run on the racetrack, the leader in the points would actually be Michael D'Orlando with 239 points. Kiko Porto would have 231. So this is exciting, the way everything's shaking down here now.
And for Juven, obviously out of Oconomowoc and driving for Pabst Racing, that this is home for them. This has got to be a very frustrating run for him.
And still 4 to go. We'll see what he's able to do, but his teammate Josh Pearson able to slide by there. And it looks to me like, I think we got a bit of a breakaway there with Christian Brooks and Nolan Siegel. I think 4th and 5th have stretched out a little bit, give themselves a bit more breathing room.
I think the smart thing here is obviously there's only 3 laps to go next time by, but you kind of settle the battle down a little bit, try to get away, like I said, so you can kind of focus on what's ahead rather than what's behind you. That frenetic side-by-side battle for that 4th, 5th spot, that's just letting the top 3 get away. And of course, the last thing you want here is a yellow as well, but you want to make sure that you're focusing on the road ahead. Put your head down, elbows up, and just take and attack the racetrack at this point.
Nolan Siegel's been able to get by Christian Brooks and move Nolan Siegel in the D-Force entry back up to 4th. Brooks goes down to 5th, and now Brooks has Simon Sykes in the Legacy Autosport number 19 pushing him. That right there, just we saw there, is Matt Round-Garrido. I think he is in 11th spot in front of Eli Navarro. Obviously a timing issue right now with Matt Round-Garrido. I'm going to say he's 11th. That's a guesstimate, but I think that's where he's running, right in front of Eli Navarro, as I had said. There he is right there. Yeah, in front of Navarro and then Prescott Campbell. So Matt Round-Garrido, P11 right now. His teammate Christian Brooks running P5. And again, the key is stay in front of the leader in the points. Juven Sundar Amurthy, the 22, running in the 8th spot right now. But as we watch here, Kiko Porto trying to get his 2nd win of the season. Everything going good for this Brazilian right now. A couple of pole positions. Man, you sweep the day here today, you go into tomorrow with so much confidence. Especially knowing that D-Force is just a super strong team right now. They were able to qualify 1, 2, 3 tomorrow, so he's going to be surrounded by his teammates coming to the line. So
and he starts P1 again.
Yeah,
so I mean, it's just all falling into place for him. Hope that wasn't the announcer's curse. Oh, big pop here down into 5.
That's a good battle there right now between Josh Pearson and Simon Sykes. Pearson was able to get by Sykes to take over 5th. And now Sykes went back down the inside of turn 5. And then Pearson over-under him coming up to turn number 6. Nicely done for Josh Pearson. And we'll bring this up. Pearson just, I want to say 15 or 16 years of age. I'm not sure he just had a birthday recently. But remember what happened last year, Eric, when he brake failure to turn 1 straight off into the tires at the end of the straightaway. He's a kid that has matured so much over the last 10 months. It's been just absolutely amazing to me to see how much he's grown up and just really getting a feel for the racecraft here. A top kart racer throughout his years in junior karting, came into the series at 14 years of age and has been pretty impressive coming up to speed.
Well, we talked pretty much all day all day yesterday about the maturation of these drivers as they progress through the road to Indy, and those that tend to mature faster than others tend to remain very quick, and B, pick up on racecraft. And racecraft is really the critical thing to taking that next step too.
You know, it's just understanding the dynamics of the car, the dynamics of approaching a corner. There's so much of it. You know, one of the book series I love reading is Speed Secrets from Ross Bentley. I go back and read those occasionally just because I absolutely love the science behind getting a car through a corner and everything about it. And that's what the drivers start learning. In karting, it's so raw. You know, it's such a pure form of the sport. Yeah, they're getting coached like crazy, but they're young. They're 12 to 15, whatever it may be. It's just raw getting out there and getting it done. There's so much more when it talks about driving a race car.
Well, and that's the racecraft element, and you know, having that raw speed's great. But if it's uncontrolled raw speed, that's when you tend to have the drivers that are very erratic. And it's you've got to learn how to rein that in and focus. And I've said this for a lot of time: the drivers who are really successful at any level are the drivers who have that bandwidth, that ability to multi-process all the time and really be able to strategize big picture things.
Well, that's really the difference from stepping up from karting into a program like this. You know, obviously with a go-kart, there's no suspension. It's air pressures, it's spacers. You're all changing weight location, and it's all about just wheeling the cart.
And it's all mechanical.
It's all mechanical. Now you have to understand.
Quick one. I'll get back to that. So Eli Navarro's gone off the racetrack at turn number 5. That was the battle he was having with Dylan Christie and Simon Sykes. So Navarro in the number 1 off the racetrack. He'll fall to the tail of the field, or at least deeper into the field. Look at this fight here too. That's Josh Green, Euban Sundarmurthy, and Josh Pearson. That's for 7th, 8th, and 9th, and that's the point leader right in the middle of that.
Well, absolutely. But just to finish up on the topic, it's adaptability. Now you're learning mechanical grip and aero grip. Now you're having to understand that there's 4 corners on that car that are going to behave differently all the way around. It's all about that package that you have to understand.
That little hiss you heard was Greg Creamer watching 2 more drivers go side by side, Sykes, and I believe it's Josh Pearson side by side through the kink again. I held my breath while Eric was talking about that one. There they are, there, side by side.
Doing it again.
That actually might be Brooks, and that.
Ooh, there it is.
No, that.
Little wiggle.
That's the battle. That was I believe the 24 of Josh Pearson able to get by Simon Sykes. Wow. 1 to go, folks. We will see the white flag this time by. That's a great scrap back there as well with Prescott Campbell and Dylan Christie, Bajoy Guard, and Matt Round-Garrido. But Kiko Porto holding what is almost a full second advantage over Michael D'Orlando. This racetrack, this event, it can be a turning point for any driver in the season. Midway through, you can get on a run here. Kiko Porto trying to get his second victory of the season. He'll take tighten up the points championship for certain. And they've got the white flag from Aaron Likens here at start-finish.
And Euban Sundarmurthy has jumped up a spot, got into 7, got around Pearson.
No, that's the battle right there, I think, isn't it?
That's big, yep.
Wow, what a scrap. There's your leaders coming under the Sorrento Bridge for the final time. There's Spike Kohlbecker, Nolan Siegel. Christian Brooks actually has some breathing room now to Simon Sykes, because that Sykes-Pearson battle allowed him to pull away a little bit. Great run here for the number 5 of Spike Kohlbecker in the Ignite Autosport with Cade Motorsports program. Karting program, the Margay Ignite program, entry-level karting, Briggs & Stratton, all made in the USA, Hoosier Tires. It's just a tremendous karting program, and they're pulling drivers out of karting into this Ignite Autosport race team, which I think is super exciting. But this is the final lap again. Battle there further back between Kent Vaccaro and Eric Evans. But Kiko Porto out front, trying to see if he can't finish it off. The Cade Motorsports drivers doing good in second and third. Would be the first career podium in Road to Indy competition for Spike Kohlbecker, the driver out of St. Louis, Missouri. But this is all about Kiko Porto right now, the Brazilian for D-Force Racing. This would give him some momentum going into the second half of the season. Down through Kettle Bottoms, Eric, looking good.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked yesterday about success breeds success. And for Spike, this is a big turning moment, perhaps, for that team, is boosting a little bit of confidence.
That's it. So here we go, folks, wrapping things up here in the first of 2 USF2000 races here this weekend at Road America through 13, now 14. D'Orlando closing as much as he can, but it's going to be too little, too late, as Porto up the hill, climbing, waiting for that checkered flag. And the first of 2 races here at Road America goes to Kiko Porto. Twin checkers to the Brazilian at start finish. Porto with the victory. Orlando in second. Spike Kohlbecker on the podium in third. Look at the gaggle of cars coming out of 14. Look at this drag race. That, I think, is that Christian Brooks? No, that's the battle with Matt Round-Garrido. Trying to hold everybody off. He's going to be, I believe, 12th. Indeed. Yeah, he ends up in the 12th spot. I think Bajoy Garg in 13th. So here's your top 10. We'll give a look at that in a couple of seconds. Kiko Porto, though, that cool down lap is so much fun after you've won the race. It's even better here at Road Americas because it's probably 5 minutes long. A 4-mile drive around here.
You can enjoy it a little bit more.
That's a little more time to savor. Of course, he's getting the radio call from the team, congratulating Kiko Porto on the victory. Some big improvements, though, and Greg, you brought it up. We're talking about, Christian Brooks starting back in 12th position. He goes all the way up to P5. Simon Sykes back in 16th. He goes all the way up to 6th. Those are big improvements when you had rough qualifying.
Absolutely they are, and that's going to be really, really good motivation for tomorrow. Letting them know that they're fast. Couple of notes here. Sandura Morthy and Josh Pearson set their fastest laps on that last lap, and Sandura Morthy closed it up to within a 10th on the back of Simon Sykes, so showing some speed late here, but it was because of those two great runs of Brooks and Sykes that Sandura Morthy lost ground, lost some points.
That's it, yeah. Based on the points I'm seeing here on live timing, they're unofficial, of course. It says 239 points for Michael D'Orlando, 231 for Kiko Porto, 232 for actually Christian Brooks. That would move him into second, and 209 for Yuvan Sundaramurthy. I'm not quite sure those are official. We'll get those updated. We'll have a look before the race tomorrow. But otherwise, let's have a look at the top 10. The Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship Grand Prix of Road America. The first round is done. Kiko Porto with the victory. The margin, .881. Michael D'Orlando second. Spike Kohlbecker third. Nolan Siegel fourth. Christian Brooks in fifth. Simon Sykes ends up in sixth. Yuvan Sundaramurthy seventh. Josh Green eighth. Josh Pearson eighth, rather. Josh Green in ninth. And Thomas Nepvu rounding out the top 10. Guys, I got to sprint over to victory lane. I'll let you wrap things up here, but tremendous run for Kiko Porto.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rob. Greg, wow. And that's just race one.
I know.
We get to do this again tomorrow.
I know. What a way to kick this off. And I mean, the first of 6 races for the Road to Indy, and you just have a gut feeling that they're all going to be this entertaining. That was superb.
You know, qualifying was so nip and tuck as well, and we kind of saw that opening round or opening lap as well. But how about Porto and D'Orlando side by side from 3 through 5 through 6 through 7 through 8 through 9 through 10 and 11.
Exactly.
Unheard of.
Brilliant.
And brilliant driving.
Yep.
And grande respect at that point for both drivers towards each other. That's when you know that again that there's an utmost driver's respect.
Yep.
That there was no shade, there was no no fade over, no pressure, and it was just straight up heads up racing, and that's what we want to see. That's what
Absolutely.
we want to. That's what we love to see here at Road America. And this track, especially with this engine configuration from Elite Engines with these USF2000 cars, just an awesome awesome program that USF2000 has.
Look at that, crawling out of the car. He's going to enjoy this moment indeed. What a celebration. And that side-by-side you were talking about, I mean, they gave each other just enough room for a Tatis race car and the exit or the inside curb. And the other guy said, I can work with that. But they stayed put and realizing that's that bandwidth thing. They went, if I fade on him and we touch, it's going to be disaster at worst, or we're going to lose huge points at best. And so let's just see this through clean. And when the one finally had him, he went, all right, I'll let him go. And what a great race that was. And again, some of those drives we were talking about. But I mean, Christian Brooks and Sykes, those moves from deep outside the top 10 up into, for Christian Brooks, into the top 5, just spectacular stuff.
Absolutely. The Kiko Porto.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
Motorsports Spike Kohlbecker. P3 for Spike. Really exciting opening laps as we saw. We had a bit of a yellow flag, but the racing was aggressive in USF2000. Big move for this driver, I believe, potentially taking over the point lead. Coming home second, Michael D. Orlando for Cape Motorsports. Good to see the drivers working their way up front here. This Brazilian had a tremendous drive, started on pole. He'll do it again tomorrow, but he converts that pole to a race win. Folks, for D-Force Racing, the winner here today at Road America, Kiko Porto. We'll do a quick little interview here with Kiko. Kiko, congratulations, man. Winning the Road America is big, gets you right in the middle of the championship. Talk a bit about your race. How good was the race car?
Oh, what a drive. Difficult weekend for us. Michael's too fast behind me, so I worked so hard. We passed like half a lap side by side, so this is really awesome. I only want to say thank you for the D-Force team, thank you Ernesto, thank you my sponsorship, Banco da Coval, and thank you my dad. I love my family, and I can't describe this moment.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done, guys. Kiko Porto, like he said, they were side by side from 5 all the way through Canada Corner. It was amazing, side by side through the kink. We were up in the announcer's booth holding our breath because we weren't sure they were going to be able to get through. Let's get those trophies in the air, guys. We got another race for USF2000 tomorrow. And, of course, Indy Pro 2000 firing up, getting ready to go. We got Indy Lights this afternoon. The future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series on display here at Road America. The Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires, the ladder system that develops drivers like Oliver Askew, Pato Award, Colton Hurd, Arenas VK. Just keep going with drivers who have come out of this Road to Indy are now stars in the NTT IndyCar Series. These are the drivers you're going to see in IndyCar in 3, 4, 5 years. Engines firing, as you can hear, for Indy Pro 2000. We'll get the Cooper Tire hats on. We've got some friends from the area here. Our Kids on Track program coming in to enjoy a day of racing here at Road America. Get a chance to meet our drivers and get a look at the cars up close and personal. So we cap off things here in Tatis Victory Lane. And again, looking forward to Indy Pro 2000. We'll fire those engines up at about 5 after 12. All right, time to spray this champagne here, folks. No? You just gonna drink it? Kiko's like, I want to spray. Whatever you want to do, go for it. Champagne spraying on the car, Kiko Porto. We're done here at USF2000. Kiko Porto with the win. Michael D. Orlando second. Spike Kohlbecker, first time on the podium, P3. Back up to the booth to the guys. I'll head down to pit lane, take care of the command. We're about 9 minutes, maybe 11 minutes away from the command to fire Indy Pro 2000.
The Chevy Silverado Trail Boss.
Your uncle, I want you to know that on the road of life, there will be rough spots, and they will chew up your tires. I recently took a road trip to Greensville to attend a chili cook-off. Rough roads all the way down. I drove there on these Cooper Discoverer and Duramax tires. You know, they're made with the durability of off-road tires, but for on-road driving. Without them, we might never know the winning bean-to-meat ratio of a good chili. And those are the things in life, my friend, worth driving towards. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! I'm hungry now.
TopCon, we know a thing or two about a smooth surface. Roads and highways, piece of cake. Airports, let's just say it'll be the smoothest landing you've ever had. But what about when you want to go fast? Real fast? No, faster. We've helped cars go faster than they've ever gone before. Broken a few lap records along the way. Want the best paving performance? Go to the source. TopCon, always one step ahead.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you.
Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
For our next driver profile, I am here with our hottest driver from Denmark, Christian Rasmussen. Christian, what makes drivers from Denmark so quick? For such a small country, there's so many of you guys that are fast.
Yeah, we do. We tend to produce some very good race car drivers in Denmark. I think part of it is through karting. We have a very good association, Dansk Automobil Sportsunion, which is supported by Team Denmark, which basically pick up young drivers like myself. I've been part of Team Denmark since very early karting days. We go through extensive training. We go training camps. I know Christian Lundgaard, F2 driver, is part of the same association as me, and yeah, I mean, since kids we just get to train together and get a lot of knowledge through them.
So let's talk about that. Young Christian, how did he get his start in racing? Did you have to beg your parents to get into it? Take me through that.
It actually started out with my cousins started to race, and me, they being older, me as a kid, 5 years old, I was obviously looking up to them a little bit. Wanted to do the same thing. Started racing rental cars on the Sundays as like a family thing together with my dad. And yeah, it literally just took off from there. Raced cars for the first many years of my career, from 5 to 15, and then made the transition into cars.
Take me through the move to the US and then staying with Jay Howard for 4 years.
Yeah, you don't see it a lot, a driver staying for 4 years, but I think that's part of our success right now. I think us just knowing each other that well, he knows Jay, what to do to get the best out of myself. Obviously have a lot of confidence in the guys and just trust them to have a good car for me everywhere. So I think, yeah, part of that trust is what makes us as quick as we are.
Well, that's awesome. We enjoy having you here in the U.S. with us on the Road to Indy. Christian, best of luck for the rest of the season. Thank you.
2000, many of them are obviously coming up through USF2000, cutting your teeth there, learning a lot about the racecraft, but this now is that second rung of the Road to Indy. They'll battle it out for over $700,000, the prize to move to Indy Lights next year. That scholarship so crucial in the careers of so many drivers, allowing them to move forward. But again, as I said, a great battle set to go here. Road America, always fun to pass on. Let's have a look at the 12 drivers who are set to go here today. On row number 6, starting on the outside in the number 11 for Velocity Racing Development, Hunter Yaney, the rookie, starting in the 12th position. Fellow freshman on the inside of that row in the number 5 for J. Howard Driver Development, starting 11th, it's Wyatt Prokachik. Moving now into the top 10, keep an eye on both of these drivers. They battled it out for the championship in USF2000 a couple of years ago. It'll be Hunter McElray for Pabst Racing on the outside in the number 18. On the inside, Braden Eves for Exclusive Autosport in the number 91. USF2000 champion in 2019, he'll start in the 9th position. Moving to row 4 on the outside, rookie from the Cayman Islands for Hunk Ghost Racing, Kiffin Simpson in the number 21, starting 8th. And on the inside, from Ireland for Turn 3 Motorsports, it's James Rowe in the number 3. Moving now to road number 3 on the outside, the reigning USF 2000 champion. He's got the Road to Indy Scholarship colors on the car. From Denmark, Christian Rasmussen, point leader coming into the weekend, the number 1 starting in 6th. And on the inside of the row, best qualifying effort we've seen so far for Jack William Miller in the number 40. He'll start in the 5th position in the red and white Miller Vinatieri Motorsports machine. Moving now to row number 2 on the outside, very impressive young 16-year-old driver, 2 years in USF 2000. His freshman season here in the Indy Pro 2000 category. 4 pole positions already. He'll start on the outside here of road number 2. Reese Gold out of Miami, Florida for Hunk Ghost Racing, the number 55, starting in 4th. Into the 3rd position. What a qualifying effort. A lot of speed out of this car. Best career qualifying effort. Jacob Abel for Abel Motorsports in the red number 51, going to start in the 3rd position. He's looking to try to get his first Road to Indy podium. It'll be a P3 start for Jacob Abel. Moving down to the front row, on the outside, Artem Petrov, winner here last year, the driver from St. Petersburg, Russia, in the number 42 for Exclusive Autosport. Petrov in the 42, starting 2nd. But the driver on the pole position here today, he'll be on the pole for both races. Manuel Suleiman from Mexico City in the number 22 for Hunk Ghost Racing. Suleiman getting set to go from the pole position, a winner last year, looking to grab that first race win of the 2021 season. Again, it'll be Suleiman and Petrov on row 1. Abel and Gold on row 2, Miller and Rasmussen row 3, Rowe and Simpson on row 4, Eves and McElray row 5, Prokachik and Yaney on row number 6. And again, second rung of the Road to Indy. Many of these drivers coming through USF 2000, each and every one of them with the goal of making it to the NTT IndyCar Series. They'll try to get to Indy Lights next year or the year after. We've got ourselves a tremendous battle ready to go. Just had a chance to see the USF 2000 drivers, 170 horsepower, 250 in these cars here, more of everything, more downforce, more horsepower, more grip, more braking ability. These cars are tremendously fun to drive, especially at a track like the one here at Road America. 3 very long straightaways, of course, 14 down to 1, 3 down to 5, and then really when you come out of turn number 8, you're on the throttle all the way through the carousel and that big run down the kettle bottoms into Canada Corner. So just a couple of minutes away, less than that, before we get the command to fire things up here. Again, 12 drivers set to go racing. In fact, just about 1 minute away, folks. And again, looking forward to seeing these drivers out here on track. We'll see all 3 rungs of the Road to Indy today. 3:05 scheduled start time this afternoon for the first race for Indy Lights. They'll all do it again tomorrow morning. Starting early at 8 o'clock. We'll have 3 races in a row for you. Going to be a lot of fun to watch before the NTT IndyCar Series comes out. This is your opportunity to see the future stars. It's like watching a single A, double A, triple A baseball game before you have a major league event. Well, folks, we're getting set to go down on pit lane. Time to fire things up right now. 12 drivers ready to flick the switch. And joining me now, right down here on pit lane to give us the command, a couple of guests from TopCon with us here this weekend, Jake and Alex Zuniga.
Road to Indy drivers, start your engines.
And with that, engines come to life. Jake and Alex, well done. We're getting ready to go racing. Back to the booth, folks. Indy Pro 2000.
Thank you, Rob and Greg. Same song, different verse, same pole sitter for both races.
Yep, they have backed it up again here. Manuel Suleiman comes in here 6th in the points. This is his first pole. He backed it up with the second pole. That's 2. Best finish, though, 2nd at St. Pete. So this is where he'd like to break that little jinx and get to the front here. And as you run through that grid, Rob took you through it, but as we saw, and again, same song, second verse, if you will, points leader, qualifying outside of the top 5, in this case, Christian Rasmussen, back in the 6th spot. So, like we saw from Sundaramurthy in the USF2000 race, points leader has work to do here.
Well, not only that, but I think obviously your points leader maybe kind of got caught out a little bit with the tire strategy during that qualifying session. Obviously, in that situation, later in the session, doing 1 lap, 2 laps in, make an adjustment, they may have just missed out on the air pressures. I expect Christian Rasmussen to be much quicker on pace here in the race.
I do too, and we've talked about it. His car control is immense, and this is a track where if you've got that control, you can float that little bit extra speed through some of these corners. It's going to pay big dividends. Another big story: Braden Eves, second in the points, back in 9th. Obviously, a bit of concern there as well. And Reese Gold, continuing his form, qualifies outside of row 2, comes in here second in the points for that young man. A big opportunity for him as well.
Well, you look at someone else that we're kind of going to be keyed on to watch is starting 10th, Hunter McElray. Struggled quite a bit last year here in the doubleheader weekend at Road America, but was kind of on the struggle bus most of the weekend. But in that Q2 earlier today, they found some pace. So I expect that car to be adjusted a little bit. I would expect him to move up through the field as well, and he'll be right on the gearbox of Braden Eves as well.
Yeah, no question about it. And Braden Eves, 2 wins this year, but another big thing for him is 5 top 5s. I mean, 7 top 5s, 5 podiums. That's how you accrue points. If you can't get the win, he gets them when he can. When he can't, he makes sure he scores points. That's big.
Yeah, absolutely. And field now collected behind the safety car here on the racetrack. Obviously, track temperatures are going to be a little bit higher now. We've had sun baking on this racetrack for a little bit more than we had earlier this morning. We had the cloud cover very early in the day today, and now we're going to see a little bit different race pace, I think, with a little bit warmer temperature. Field now getting into the Hurry Downs area, and they'll collect the field as soon as they get to the bottom half of the racetrack. We'll go 2 by 2 and get this race underway in just a few moments, Greg. But in this particular race, Indy Pro 2000, we've saw a little bit different kind of a qualifying aspect for race 2, obviously, than we did in race 1 on Friday afternoon for qualifying. Again, that was round 1 qualifying was really 1 or 2 hot laps and in, 1 or 2 hot laps and in. This morning's qualifying session was 3 or 4 laps. You were kind of banking speed in that particular situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you had to find it when you were ready to go. And I'll tell you, I don't know why, but every once in a while you just get a gut feeling about something. And I think Artem Petrov is somebody to maybe keep an eye on in this one as well. So field working its way now through the kink, heading down into Canada Corner. Rob is back in the booth, and I think this one is going to be just a superb run.
Yeah, I agree. This is going to be a tremendous battle. Looking forward to it. Plus, before we go going, let's bring in our driver analyst joining us for this particular show as well. Devlin DeFrancesco for the driver for Indy Lights in the Andretti Steinbrenner Autosport crew. You were good here last year, pretty quick. Finished second last year in Indy Pro. We'll come to you in a couple seconds. Stay right there with us because we're getting ready to go starting here. We'll bring Devlin in a bit. He's going to give us some insight. Of course, Devlin running Indy Lights this afternoon and tomorrow. Drivers coming out of Canada Corner as we get set to go racing. Manuel Suleiman for Juncos Racing, pole for both days. Can he do what Kiko Porter did and turn that pole position into a race win? He's trying to get himself back in the championship fight as well. Manuel Suleiman rolling out here onto the straightaway, getting ready to punch things off. Again, Suleiman on the inside. Artem Petrov, winner here last year on the outside. And nice and slow. Didn't punch off early at all. He's going to try to get him nice and slow up the line. Check out this start. Formation perfect. Petrov for Exclusive Autosport on the outside. Suleiman for Juncos Racing on the inside. Ready to fire things up. Nice and slow. Coming up to the top of the hill. We're looking for it. Everyone in position. He is going really deep into the starting zone. Getting ready to punch off. Look at this slow start. And indeed, green, green, green. And a great jump for Suleiman. But always tough coming down into turn number 1. Jacob Abel slotting right in behind Artem Petrov as well. First, second, and third in line. But here we go. Now they start to fan out. Petrov thinking about trying the outside. Tucks back in. Abel into the third position, clean and green through turn number 1. They'll get themselves down through turn 2 here, down to the bottom of the hill, turn number 3. And again, early lead right now for Suleiman. Everybody else slotting into position, coming out for the first big run down the straightaway under the Sargento Cheese Bridge and all the way down to turn number 5. That hard braking corner. Turn 5, left-hander back up the hill to 6. Couple of drivers slow further back. Someone's got front wing damage. That, I think, that looked like potentially one of the Juncos cars. Or was that Braden Eves? That might have been the exclusive Autosport driver with wing damage. We'll see as they come back through. There's Eves there. Greg,
That's
what do you
massive.
think?
Second in the points if that was him. Exactly what he didn't need, obviously, here. And I think on that start, I think Petrov may have been a little bit more aggressive around the outside, as we are now full course caution around the outside of Suleiman. But he looked in his mirrors and saw Jacob Abel coming flying up the inside and went, yeah, I'm going to tuck right back in
That's
again.
exactly that, yeah. As the drivers now come to a slow pace around the racetrack, full course yellow. We'll try to figure out exactly what happened there. And again, Devlin DeFrancesco's with us here once we get a chance to look at the replay. Devlin, come on in here. We got some time. First off, we got a yellow. Thanks for being up here with us,
Hi,
man.
Rob. Thanks for having me.
How's your weekend going so far?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Really tight qualifying this morning.
Yeah.
Nice to be back up there. A shootout at the end, obviously. Daniel Frost did a great job. But yeah, all eyes forward to the race.
Always nice when your Inderti teammates are doing well, right? Either it's you or whoever, because you're able to get that data and transition it and pour over it for the race this afternoon. What do you think? It's 20 laps, right? And you guys haven't gone 20 laps here yet this weekend, I don't think, have you, in total?
No, not in a single run.
Yeah.
I think tire degradation will be a key factor, especially in the Indy Pro race as well as memories from last year. I think it's going to be an exciting race.
Let's have a look, see if we do get a replay potentially. I don't think they've called one in for us yet, but indeed an issue early on, trying to figure out which driver. So indeed, not able to get, I think, anything for us here in terms of a replay. Looks like one more lap to go. They're getting things cleaned up a little bit here. We'll have a look at the order as they run on the racetrack when they come back around here. And again, Manuel Suleiman getting a good jump there. Waited very, very late into the start zone. Let's talk about that, Devlin. What's the strategy play there? Is that something you think about doing, trying to go late? And you can go late, you can go, if you punch off early, it's nice. But this front straightaway is so long, I don't know that you want to do that.
Exactly. The front straightaway is so long. I think Manuel timed the start perfectly. I think Petrov did the smart thing by tucking in and Abel slotting into third. I think it's a really tight battle here in Indy Pro 2000 this year. I think it's going to be a really exciting race. I think there could be at least 4 to 5 guys who could win it. It's
very similar, I think, to Indy Lights. We have such a deep field in both those categories. Now, here you are in your first year of Indy Lights, and, man, the amount of guys we have in there, it's hard to get a race win in that series.
The depth is really high. You know, if you make a little mistake, you can find yourself P5, P6 rather than on the front row.
I asked you this yesterday at the Cooper Tire stage when we had a Q&A. What's the difference between the Indy Pro 2000 car and the Indy Lights car here? I got to think the top speed at the end of these straightaways is killer.
Yeah, no, for sure. The top speed is definitely much higher. You know, as I said yesterday, some corners that weren't corners in Indy Pro 2000 have become corners in Indy Lights. You know, the speed, the downforce is much higher. So both cars really enjoyable to drive around Road America.
I love it. So now we're on to the second lap here, Greg. We still haven't really got an update yet.
I think Christian Rasmussen was one of those cars involved because he has not yet crossed start-finish.
Yeah, Jack William Miller, Christian Rasmussen, Kiffin Simpson, Wyatt Prokachik. I'm not seeing on live timing yet.
So it must have been, you could see if you looked on this shot right down, right at the exit, you could see a couple of cars are off driver's left, or our left, driver's right. They're just sitting there. And I think you can see one of the AMR rescue team's lights flashing down there. So I think there's a multiple car issue at the exit at 3.
There you have it. And that is, again, and you brought it up, there is your championship leader as well. Christian Rasmussen involved in that, and that is tough for him. The driver who scored the win in the Freedom 90 at the Oval at Lucas Oil Raceway now finds himself at the intent. Well, I don't know what points he would get. I guess he's going to set up in 10th, depending on where he qualified. Very interesting start to this race. Let's talk about starts, Devlin, because it's crucial here. I almost think sometimes people get too anxious here because there's so many places to pass at Road America, but the opening lap is the best place to move forward, right?
For sure. That's the time when everyone's bunched up, and if you've done your tire prep well enough and you got the Cooper tires in well enough, it's going to make a big difference, and it's going to really pay dividends.
Going deeper into that, is that something you have to do on the warm-up lap? Is there a strategy to warming the tires up on that opening lap?
Of course. We're bringing the Cooper tires in is extremely important. Here it's a one-time buy. It's a 4.5 mile lap, so it shouldn't be a huge issue. But for sure, having that bit of extra tire temp will definitely pay dividends into those first 2 brake zones.
In setting up for the race here, obviously things are a little different in qualifying, but do you tend to favor starting with a little lower tire pressure so that the car and the tire might be a little bit better later in the race, or do you want to take, with that opportunity at the start, you want to start with a little higher pressure and try and gain some spots right away?
I'd say it's a bit of an unknown for us. You know, we never raced in these hot temperatures before in Road America, so I leave that to my engineer, Mark Bryant, and
guys get paid to do it, right?
I get on with it. So yeah, I let him get on with it.
You just execute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll take the opportunity to say hello to those of you tuning in on the Road to Indy TV app or on the Road to Indy YouTube channel. My name is Rob Howden, joined by Greg Creamer, and our driver analyst here today is Devlin DeFrancesco, who will go racing this afternoon in Indy Lights at 3:05 scheduled start time. Devlin finished second last year in the Indy Pro 2000 championship. Really likes this racetrack. And I know I made the mistake. I'll call myself out. I made the mistake in the Q&A. I was in the middle of an interview, and I was talking like Devlin had won the race, and I feel bad because he literally got nipped at the line in a photo finish. But this is a track that you've been good at. You were strong here last year. You're fast. Is it one of your favorites on the circuit?
This is definitely one of my favorites. You know, it's very high speed, not very forgiving if you make a mistake.
That's true.
But definitely one of my favorite tracks on the calendar.
I love it. Now, you've done some racing in Europe as well. Is there a track maybe you could say, hey, it's similar to this particular track in Europe?
I'd say if I had to pick one, I would say Spa.
Yeah,
just no runoff.
Yeah, just with no runoff.
Just with no runoff and concrete walls.
That's Americanized racing for you, right? You can't make mistakes. It's almost like St. Petersburg in terms of having walls pretty close.
For sure.
That's high praise indeed, isn't it?
It is.
When you say it's like Spa.
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, it's such a remarkable run long up through the forest here on the Kettle Moraine. And I'd like, real quick, while we have this little pause here, just want to say thanks to all the volunteers that are coming out here. I mean, there's so many different specialties that need to be staffed. And, of course, for me, always a big personal shout-out to all my peeps on the corners. I want to say hi to those people out in harm's way, out in the elements, providing information to you drivers. Just crucial, and just a big thanks to all the volunteers.
I 100% agree with you for sure on that. So, okay, let's have a look at this lineup here right now. And again, kind of caught us off guard. We're not able to see with the cameras that we have the incident on track. It looks like Jack William Miller, Christian Rasmussen, Kiffin Simpson, and Wyatt Prokopchik all involved. That's 4 drivers out of this race, leaving 8 on the racetrack. Manuel Suleiman with the lead right now. Artem Petrov in second, Jacob Abel third, Reese Gold in fourth, James Rowe fifth, Hunter McElray sixth, Braden Eves in seventh, and Hunter Yaney in eighth. Pretty crazy start. Greg, you coming back in with some info?
Yeah, I just took a really close look at one of the security cameras here, and we've got, it looks like a couple of cars, drivers right exited 3 and a couple drivers left exited 3, and that would account for the 4 that have gone absent here. And they're rolling a number of flatbeds and EV equipment here to get those cars moved. So you got to think exiting 3, somebody took a run, went down the inside, wheels interlocked, and we just had a couple of incidents on either side of the track.
Yeah, it's a junkyard right now.
Yeah, it is.
They've literally brought the flatbed in too, so there's a car that's not going to be able to get towed back. So they're doing the best thing they can to get these drivers cleared away. As I said, a 15-lapper, let me quickly look. It's 15 laps or 50 minutes. We'll see what kind of green flag racing we get here. And again, the AMR safety crew, absolute best in the business, getting out there. And even all the crews here at Road America do a great job getting things cleared up. Devlin, I bet you didn't think you'd have to do this much work at the start. We were going to come back, in the middle of some races here. We worked you pretty hard here. Let me ask you this question, and I know that you and your team very quick. What is the key to a fast lap here? Where is there certain segments of the racetrack you really have to nail to get a fast lap?
Of course, I think it's quite a lot about rhythm, but also you just need to really grab it by the scruff of the neck and send it, especially in the lights car, I think.
What's it like going through the carousel? That's the one corner I can just imagine going through the carousel. Are you flat out through the kink too?
Through the kink, yes. Through the carousel, no.
No, definitely not the carousel, right? What's the car feel like there? Is it intrinsically with the off camber? Is there an oversteer all the time, or is the second half a bit of a push through that corner?
I mean, the Andretti Steinbrenner car's been really good through there. I don't know about the others.
That company line, well done. Good for you.
Well, there's that little midway through that carousel. There's that little where the road crowns just a little bit and drops, and you see some pretty fast hands are necessary there.
Yes, no, it's definitely moving around a fair bit through there. But one of my favorite corners on the racetrack.
Yeah,
I'm just getting a little information here from a man, Nick Yeoman from IndyCar Radio. He's got some guys that down in turn 3 saying that somebody went flipping about 20 feet in the air in that wreck. So
biggie.
it sounds like we had a pretty nasty wreck down there. Of course, we didn't see it, not where one of our videos are. The availability here for these Indy Pro 2000 races. We'll get full video, of course, for Indy Lights as it's on NBC Sports on Peacock. But man, it sounds like it was a pretty gnarly incident.
Yeah, obviously, and it took the points leader involved. And for Rasmussen, this has got to be just driving him nuts because you think about it. He had that 13th place finish and minimal points at the opener at Barber, and then strung together some amazing runs, 4 wins and the like, gets himself into the points lead. And now it's sort of rinse and repeat, and that's got to be frustrating. Yeah. Real quickly, I want to mention, just got word that in the paddock shop, one David Obbs is signing autographed copies of his book there, and he'll be there until 3 p.m. So
very nice.
If you haven't read the book, it's amazing. And 2, just the opportunity to spend even 15 seconds with David Hobbs is a treasure. So head on over there.
100%. Yeah, head over there to the gift shop, folks. And again, looking to try to hopefully get back to green here as soon as we possibly can. But with the 4-car incident, takes quite a bit of time to be able to get everything cleaned up here. Devlin DiFrancesco joining us here. Of course, he'll be on track in his Andretti Steinbrenner Autosport machine. Indy Lights getting ready to roll at about 3:05 this afternoon. And the beauty of Indy Lights, we talk a lot about the Road to Indy and how it develops drivers to get themselves up into the NTT IndyCar Series. But if you're in Indy Lights, you're literally on the cusp. You're right there. You spend a lot more time with the team owners and managers of IndyCar because they're, of course, watching. I enjoyed watching qualifying. As I was coming up and down because IndyCar was right afterwards. Well, all the IndyCar team owners were on their boxes watching the Indy Lights qualifying session, so for sure that they're keeping an eye on you. Listen, you're in the Andretti pipeline. Obviously, IndyCar is your focus. Are we going to see you testing an IndyCar pretty soon for Andretti?
I leave that to my management to deal with. George Steinbrenner, very, very much involved on that side of things with Anton as well. So I leave that to them, and my job is to execute.
Are you getting anxious, though? Because normally, by the end of the season, if you're an Indy Lights driver, you're going to at least get to drive an IndyCar at least once. I'd be pretty jacked if I were you.
For sure, there's an element of excitement there, of course, but it's all eyes onto the job right now. That's and executing 2 good races here in Road America.
What are your thoughts? Where you are in points right now? Is there a plan to come back for one more year of Indy Lights potentially next year? Are you trying to go to IndyCar next year?
Right now, my eyes are on stringing good results together and seeing where the chips land.
Keeping right in front of you, right? Good call. Devlin DiFrancesco joining us here again. Once we get going racing here, again, we'll get some input on him on what he's seeing on the racetrack with drivers who are working their way around. 8 drivers remaining here after a 4-car incident at the start here that took out, namely, the point leader, Christian Rasmussen. 13-point lead coming in. This is really going to be big, Greg, for Manuel Suleiman. Manuel significantly down the order. Quick look at the points right now. Manuel in 6th position in points, and he was 90 points back. There's 60 points on offer on the weekend. We already know that the Rasmussen's going to be well down.
Absolutely. I mean, this is big. And Manuel hasn't had a win yet.
No.
And this is his first pole. He backed it up with Q2 qualifying, got another pole. But an opportunity for him, as you said, with a win, with Rasmussen struggles, with Eves back a bit to make up some ground. By the way, got to report that incident 3. Don't know which cars it was, but somebody around the outside of 3 got sideways in front of the rest, and then boom. Ooh. And that's what may have caused it. So that's the scenario.
For Manuel,
by the way, real quick,
yes.
Were you as relentless when you were racing as you are in trying to get an answer out of Devlin? Because that was impressive.
I appreciate that.
And great deflection, my friend. That was world class.
Devlin's doing a good job right now.
Well.
I'm throwing everything I got at him here right now, and he's keeping the cards close to the vest for sure. For Suleiman, what I find interesting, a couple of pole positions, they're really good here right now. If he's able to win here, the thing is, last year he was able to win at Mid-Ohio. We go to Mid-Ohio twice this year. So that really kind of brings him back into the discussion when you're talking championships, especially if he can get out of here with a sweep of the weekend. That'd be crucial.
From memory last year, Solomon was very, very strong in Mid-Ohio. Good to see him up there. But as well, even if you look at Christian Rasmussen, he fell back in points at certain points last year.
Yeah,
and he had a string of,
that's it.
I forget how many wins it was. So.
Yeah, I think he won 7 races or something like that at the start of the season, then had some issues at Indianapolis, then drove off on the opening lap at Mid-Ohio. But I think it was down to 3 points at one point, but then he turned it back around. The mental toughness of him for sure. He will not cave at all. And I know the Jay Howard driver development team very quick. We'll see Christian back here tomorrow. Looks to me like we're going to go racing.
Yes, it does.
I think we are. All 8 drivers lining up again with Manuel Suleiman, the Mexican driver for Juncos Racing, who led him up very slowly. I think he's going to try to do exactly the same thing coming up the hill here. Indeed, not punching off coming out of 14, because you do that and it's a big draft all the way down, especially with there's a bit of a wind right now. At least I know that we started the day, the wind was in the face of these drivers coming up into turn 1, which only increases the effect of the draft. And we're at it, folks. Green flag is flown and we are racing. Back at it here.
That was a savvy move by Suleiman. Right when the green went, he punched and it went immediately right and just tried to get that wall of air to hit Petrov. But Petrov not buying it again, goes to the outside.
Hold your breath through turn number 1. Petrov trying the outside. They'll come back down the hill. Petrov slotting back into position right now. There's a move a little further back potentially. I think that was Reese Gold looking to the inside of Jacob Abel, but thinks better of it and tucks back in. Here's again a big run down the straightaway. At least one driver dropping a wheel back there. As you can see the dust coming out of the outside of turn number 3. Lots of racing deep in the field here as well, as Braden Eves trying to get himself back forward. Let's have a look at the run down into turn number 5. Big move down the bottom. James Rowe to the inside. He'll go side by side with Reese Gold. Not quite able to get it to go, as Gold able to hold the outside of that corner. Back up here into turn number 6, top of the hill. Blind entry into turn 6, back down through turn number 7. Indy Pro, Devlin, we flat out through there in Indy Pro?
Through turn 7, yes. Turn 7 is definitely wide open in
high
in
on the
Pro.
pucker factor? Or is it
not as much as I would have as I was expecting actually last year.
All right. For me, it's tough, man. That is a tough corner. It feels like it's tighter than it is, but you just got to get up on the rumbles on the exit. First time back at speed through the carousel. And it's a good run here for Manuel Suleiman, able to capitalize on that pole. And Greg, look at this opening lap. He's got about 6 or 7 car length already on Artem Petrov.
Boy, that's what he needed to do, just get clear enough that instead of Artem getting good draftable air, he's getting a little bit more wash, and that's going to be really, really huge. Nice restart by Suleiman and making it work really well.
Looks to me like Braden Eves as well up behind James Rowe. So Eves has got himself up a couple spots. He's P5 right now, I think, behind with Rowe. James Rowe in the Turn 3 Motorsports Topcon Trintec machine. P5, that number 3 machine, getting some pressure here from the back. But he's doing the same thing. He's trying to catch up on Reese Gold here. Look at that. Going to be a big draft here as well for James Rowe, as he'll try to see if he can't come by. Huge draft coming up the hill on Reese. You can see Reese kind of weaving back and forth a little bit, trying to break that draft. Let's see if Rowe makes a move coming down into turn number 1, side by side. Further back, Hunter Yaney and Hunter McElray as well. Rowe not able to get the job done. McElray able to get by Yaney as well. So move Hunter McElray to 7th position. Braden Eves now 6th. Lead probably about a half a second, a little more than a half second down to turn number 3.
Well, you know that the crews, and Braden's well aware, Reese is well aware, that Rasmussen's off, and so it's like, man, anything you can make up here is going to be gold in terms of trying to close this championship down.
That's very true. Of course, the engineers and the strategists on the radio with their drivers, let them know what's going on, and this will be an opportunity for both Braden Eves and everybody else behind Artem Petrov, Reese Gold, all with an opportunity to close up those points a bit. It's going to be tighter when we go to Sunday's racing tomorrow morning.
It's a question for Devlin is, during a race when you're in the throes and, you're in a points battle and one of your competitors, how much is your strategist talking to you, giving you that kind of feedback about, hey, if you can do something here?
Definitely important. I have my engineer on the radio giving me gaps of the cars in front, and you have a little bit of a predetermined idea on who your fights are with and where you are in points at that point. But I think there's so much racing to go that it's just about executing good, solid finishes week in, week out, and the points will add up. As they say, points mean prizes.
Absolutely. Do you like getting a lot of feedback and info from your engineer, or do you just want to turn that off and just focus?
I was going to say, are you a talker as well, right?
I am quite a talker, and I do tend to like a lot of info, just gaps and things like that are important. So. Yeah, those. I know each driver is different, but that's how I do things.
Braden Eves has been able to get by James Rowe, so move Eves up a spot. He'll go to P5. Jacob Abel, a lot of pressure from behind from Reese Gold as well. Jacob Abel tried to get that first podium finish, and I think that would be fantastic for his confidence, but he gets pressured big time by Reese Gold here now.
I think Jacob Abel's really stepped up his game this year. I think he's, I've seen a big improvement from him. He's constantly always been in the top 4, top 5 from what I've seen. And Braden Eves as well, extremely consistent so far this year. I think he's had 4 or 5 podiums already so far. So I couldn't really tell you who my money be on to win this championship. Honestly, I think it's going to be a close battle.
I'm with you. I think it's so up in the air, especially when we go to Mid-Ohio. Artem Petrov's been good there. Braden Eves is really good at Mid-Ohio, but Christian Rasmussen isn't that bad there either. We'll see what happens on the oval as well when we get to Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. There's a question for you as these guys continue racing. No Freedom 100 this year, which sucks. I know you can see the grimace in your face, not able to run to Indianapolis, but you get to go to Gateway. What do you had a good run at Gateway. That was fun watching you at Gateway last year, Worldwide Technology. You looking forward to that?
Extremely. That's another racetrack I'm excited to go to after having good success there last year. I think the Andretti cars will be very strong there, especially the Andretti Steinbrenner car.
It's not something that you did at all when you were racing in Europe, but you come over here and jump into an Indy Pro 2000. I was very impressed. You picked it up pretty quickly.
I've always had strength in high-speed corners. That's always been one of my strengths. So I knew I was pretty sure I would take to ovals quite quickly. So yeah, it's definitely something I've really enjoyed doing.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Indy Lights at Worldwide Technology Raceway will be a lot of fun. That's in late August. I just got news actually from our Director of Communications, Tammy Valkoski. All the drivers checked and released from the Infield Care Center as well. So that's obviously great news. Yeah. Manuel Suleiman continues to lead here, folks. 6 laps down.
Oh, sorry, the 2 teammates down in Canada at the back, Yanni and McElroy, side by side through that corner. How they didn't touch, I'm not sure how they avoided that, but it was sweet.
Wow.
Also wanted to say extremely happy for Manuel. You know, I think this will be a big confidence booster for him. He's driven a great race so far. He's timed the start and the restart perfectly.
Yep.
I think he has this race quite well in hand.
For Greg and I, the announcers, we just like the fact that there's somebody new that's going to win, right? It's always like to have new winners, kind of mixing up the championship battle, bringing Manuel back into it. Like I said, 90 points back of Christian Rasmussen coming in, and if he's able to get, he's already got the bonus point for pole, potential to get the bonus point for most laps led. That's going to put him potentially 32 points. Where are we on fast laps so far? He's got the fast lap of the race right now so far as well, so could be a 33-point haul for him, which will close him up in the championship.
And I said that Yanni and McElroy were teammates. They're not. They're duking it out back there. But yeah, Velocity Development's obviously for Yanni.
For Yanni is Velocity Racing Development, Dan Mitchell's team. They have 1 car in USF2000, 1 car in Indy Pro, and we look forward to seeing them expand their team. Got a really good program that supports a lot of young karters as well. So they got a kind of development program in karting, VRD does. So they'll be bringing a bunch of drivers in. We're going to see some new guys coming in and racing with them here in USF2000 as well.
Well, that speaks to what we were saying before, but this doesn't just train drivers. It trains teams. It trains team personnel to work their way up and eventually hopefully get up into the NTT IndyCar Series.
And we see a lot of that with teams that have a USF2000 and an Indy Pro team where they've got a young guy that'll come in or girl that's working for them, and then they'll end up going up to the Indy Pro car. And we talked about having young ladies in the paddock as well. I think one of your mechanics is a young lady as well, right?
Yes, her name is Madison, and she's honestly been unbelievable this year.
That's awesome.
You know, very quick with changes in the pits. With car prep has been amazing. So yeah, it's great to see diversity in the Road to Indy paddock and in the NTT IndyCar Series.
100%. And of course, you've got the team itself, Andretti Autosport, and with Andretti Steinbrenner, also had last year got the Mechanic of the Year, Jessica Mace.
Jessica Mace,
your mechanic from last year. IndyCar Mechanic of the Year for Indy Pro 2000. She's of course running.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just going to wrap it up. She's back up with the Indy Lights team this year.
That's fabulous. You love to see it. Braden Eves is really starting attack on Abel right now. Abel getting, though, a beautiful run through 14. And was immediately able to gap him by a couple of the car lengths. But heading into Canada up through Billy Mitchell, Braden was right there.
This will be interesting because these guys are really good friends as well. When they go karting, sometimes they'll help each other. You know, Jacob will wrench for Braden when they do karting and some of the top events. So this will be a good battle between the two of these drivers here. Of course, remember, Braden Eves, 2019 USF2000 champion. Really one of the feel-good stories this year after the incident that happened last year at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where he was upside down, pretty significant injuries, able to get back behind the wheel of a kart in the off-season and started testing again. So just great to see Braden back out here and rolling against one of the top young American drivers here in the Road Dandy. Ooh, I think we got ourselves a battle for the lead, folks, because Artem Petrov has closed back up on Manuel Suleiman. Here they come over the crest of turn 6, and there you go. Not even a car length between first and second.
That is, whoa, almost overshooting the exit. So you can tell right now that Suleiman's feeling the pressure. Dropped that right rear at the exit of 6. Gathered it up, but that's just going to, I would think, and light the fuse for Petrov. He's going, all right, he knows I'm here. He's feeling the heat.
Artem is very stoic, very focused. A number of wins last year. He's a guy that when he gets that bit between his teeth, he'll go at it. You got a chance to race against him last year. He's a pretty tough competitor.
Yeah, definitely. Very hard but fair, I'd say, on track. He's also one to get his elbows out. So, but I think as long as Manuel executes good runs out of the carousel and out of 14 and out of 3, I think he'll have this race in hand.
And that's really the key, isn't it? Those 3 corners. You have to be able to roll corner speed through those particular turns to get that good run down the straightaway.
Yeah, you definitely need to get out the other side for sure. Maybe the Cooper tires are starting to go off a little bit, but they have quite good durability, so I wouldn't think so.
It seems to be a little bit of a talking point this weekend that this track is a little harder on our tires, I think. In talking to some of the engineers, we've never really raced here when it's been as warm as it has in the mid-80s. You know, it's normally been here in June, mid-70s. We've had some hot days here.
Yeah, as I said, this is the hottest I think we've ever run here in Road America. So actually qualifying this morning was a bit more normal temps that we've run here in Road America. So I think the race degradation is definitely going to be a factor for the Indy Lights Series.
Interesting. We talked about it in the IndyCar radio broadcast that Cooper Tires does bring a different tire compound and tire construction to this particular racetrack. All the high loads, the high temperature we get on these tires, a little bit different. And in talking to Gavin Rose, the Cooper Tire engineer, he did tell me that, and you mentioned warming the tires up, it takes a bit longer and maybe a little bit, I don't know, much of a different approach, but it does take longer to bring these tires up to temp at Indy Lights.
The Indy Pro, yes, for sure. I think the tires definitely is harder to maybe withstand the lateral loads that the lights cars have.
Watching this battle up front, Greg.
I was just going to ask Devlin here. You know, you talk about how you really like the long duration, really fast flowing corners. Turn 6 to me, there's so many great corners here, but I don't know that any's trickier than turn 6. Real quick, what are your impressions of that corner?
Blind entry, of course, and the rear seems to get light over the crest, so that's definitely a hard corner to get right, as we saw Suleiman lost the rear a little bit on power down out of 6, so definitely a hard corner to get right and to execute lap after lap.
You got to time your braking to perfection when the car crests like that, don't you?
Yes, you need to anticipate the turn in as well.
Well, Greg and I are talking all about this battle and how Artem Petrov was able to close up. Devlin, in his expert opinion, says that Suleiman's going to be able to pull away, and that's exactly what's happening. I like the fact that Devlin seems to be on it here right now, Greg.
Well, and he was spot on, because on that lap, Petrov turned a lap that was 0.3 quicker than Suleiman. The next lap, Suleiman went a 10th faster, and the next lap again a 10th faster, and gapped that back out just a little bit. And Braden Eves' attack on Abel apparently lit the fuse for Jacob Abel, because he's suddenly all over the back of Reese Gold again.
And he just set the fast lap of the race. Jacob Abel did as well. Was able to get down to a 2:05.650. Next fastest lap, Reese Gold 2:05.9, 0.3 faster. So look at this. Jacob Abel's going to get the toe down the straightaway. He may be trying to see if he can't get himself back on the podium here. That's what he's looking for. Abel with a big run. Jacob working very closely with Parker Thompson as his driver coach this year as well, and really good connection between those two guys. Parker drove alongside Jacob in Indy Pro 2000 a couple years ago when they first came into the series. And I like this battle potentially for the final position on the podium. Braden Eves looks like he's got things handled here right now, P5. James Rowe and Hunter McElroy, though, still got a battle going there. That's for 6th and 7th. Hunter Yaney in 8th. And again, as we said, if you're joining us late with 5 laps remaining now, an incident on the opening circuit coming out at turn number 3. One of the drivers got sideways, collecting 3 others. Jack William Miller, Christian Rasmussen, Kiffin Simpson, and Wyatt Prokacek all involved in that incident.
Big lock up there by
Hunter Yaney.
Hunter Yaney gathered it up, but while we were talking, Petrov has driven an absolutely stunning first third of this lap, and he is all over the back of Suleiman again as they got down into turn 5. Now you can see Suleiman's put another car length between the two of them.
You look back there as well, though. Reese Gold and Jacob Abel are closing up. All told, the top 4 drivers last time by separated by just over 2 seconds. This is going to be an interesting battle for sure when it's all said and done. 5 laps remaining, as I said. 10 laps down. It'll be 4 to go when they come back around.
And Devlin, when you're running in a series like this, where all the cars are identical and it's just down to minor setup changes, during the race, you don't have more power than the guy, you don't have better stick, you don't have any of that. What do you do as a driver? Where can you find something to be able to run down somebody who's running in identical equipment?
I think it's about, getting the car balance right with your engineer on maybe what you're looking for, and to be able to execute good runs out of 14, out of 3, and out of the carousel.
And I would assume to have good tires at the end of the race is
Of course,
huge,
I think
of
as
course. Yeah.
degradation, I think, is a little bit of a factor. It looks like Sullivan is really just focusing on his exits out of 14, out of 3, and out of the carousel, because in the twisty section, Petrov seems to close back up.
A little bit, yeah, exactly that. But he's still holding on that lead that he needs right now, the gap, as they come across the line. Last time was 0.6 of a second, actually pushed it out to about 0.64 now, so a little bit more than a half a second, the lead for Manuel Sullivan over Artem Petrov. We talked a little bit about the tire degradation, too. We'll see what happens over these last couple laps.
Well, Petrov seems to be really good from start-finish around to the exit of 5, maybe up through 6. But from there around, Sullivan really seems to have the flow down through that section of track, and it's paying dividends, as you said, with that having a gap and a good run out of 14.
Well, let's say this one thing. Juncos Racing pretty good here at Road America. Artem was actually with Juncos last year when he won here at Road America, so they have a pretty solid setup. Ricardo Juncos and the crew here for Indy Pro 2000, currently running in first and third. As we said, their other driver, Kiffin Simpson, out on the opening lap, but a couple of podium positions right now for the Juncos drivers as Jacob Abel continuing to pressure from P4 as laps winding down in the first of 2 Indy Pro 2000 races here this weekend.
McElroy just took a huge look at James Rowe down into turn 5. Couldn't make that work, but look at him here again. Into braking, into 5 and into 8. McElroy is really effective and closes it up. Tried to go around the outside at 5. Couldn't quite get it done here. But that is a good scrap as well. And for Abel, right now, he's on track, I think, Rob, to get his best finish of the year. He previously was 5th, but boy, it'd be nice to make that move and make it a podium, wouldn't it?
Still has fast lap of the race as well. That's a bonus point for Jacob Abel. We'll see if that lasts. Again, always balancing the lower fuel load with the tire degradation to see when you're going to get that fast lap. That's a great. Let's go into that question, Devlin. As you go through a race, your race is 20 laps long. As you start to lose fuel, can you feel a difference in the car? Does it handle different as the car's getting lighter?
I think at most tracks it does cancel itself out with the fuel load going down with the tire deg.
Yeah.
But it seems to be here. Maybe it's the hot temperatures that really seem to make the rear tires fall off. Looks like Jacob Abel has a
Here comes this
big
battle.
run.
Jacob Abel looking to the inside, coming down into turn number 1. Abel side by side with Reese Gold all the way down the straightaway. Who's going to give it up? Abel to the inside. Book it. Jacob Abel goes to P3.
Oh, and did he sell Reese Gold a dummy there? They were coming down. He was tucked behind. He swung to the outside. Gold faded just a little bit. Bang, went to the inside, sliced underneath into 1. That was gorgeous.
Let's see if Jacob Abel can hold that spot. A podium would be huge. We saw a fantastic rookie podium for Spike Kohlbecker in USF2000.
I don't think Gold is done. I think he had a great run through 3. He might return the favor down into 5. He's gone to the outside. He's already got the nose ahead. Abel deep on it, Rob.
Hold your breath when we see the other camera angle, if there's contact or not. Coming back up the hill, we got some dust on the outside. Abel still to the bottom of the racetrack, and he'll take it back in turn number 6. Tremendous back and forth battle for P3. Jacob Abel versus Reese Gold. And Abel with a good run out of 6 gets himself some room in 7.
Yeah, that was pretty. And for Reese Gold, obviously, young guy, 16 years old, he just learned, all right, don't bite down that front straight. And 2, immediately attacked again. He is impressive.
Falling back a little bit here right now. I don't know if he locked it up. That might have been brake lockup. I'm not quite sure. You can see that it looks like Braden Eves closing up a little bit here as well. But Jacob Abel working his way into 3rd position. I talked about Spike Kohlbecker, the rookie, getting his first podium finish as well in USF 2000. It would be cool to see a podium here for Jacob Abel. Oh, how about the battle for the lead coming down Kettle Bottoms? Petrov, we talked about faster at 1/2. He throws it down to the bottom. He's on the outside. That's Petrov on the outside, not quite able to get the job done. But this is starting to get spicy right now.
Look at this now. Braden down, trying to get to the inside of Gold through Billy Mitchell. That's a tough corner to make that work. And at that point, Gold was able to defend.
We'll let Devlin, we'll let you take off. We know you got to get prepped up for a couple of things. Thank you so much for joining us, buddy.
Thank you for having me on, Rob.
Yeah, pleasure, man.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Good luck this afternoon.
Devlin DeFrancesco for Andretti Steinbrenner Autosport joining us as a driver analyst here today. Got to get out of here. Some more prior commitments to him. And again, remember, he's going racing this afternoon as well. I think a driver's meeting actually coming up for the drivers in Indy Lights.
You don't want to miss those.
No, exactly that. we've got some racing here
Yes,
going on
we
right
do.
now. Because first and foremost, we got a battle for the race lead. Manuel Suleiman's been pressured by Artem Petrov. With that racing right now, Jacob Abel's actually closing up. Then you got the fight for 4th position as Braden Eves fighting it out with Reese Gold. Couple laps remaining, Greg. This thing's starting to percolate.
It is, and McElroy is still hounding Rowe, so we've really got 3 great battles out there at different spots of the track, and that just makes this so good. There's Suleiman down into 5. Look at Petrov close up.
Deep break there. Really into the zone, braking zone there for Artem Petrov, doing everything he can to try to see if he can't find a way by. Jacob Abel turning up the wick as well. If they start battling, Abel might be. Look how much closer Jacob Abel is right now in the Abel Motorsports 51.
And the concern for Petrov, you get in that late, we saw that little bit of brake smoke, and I'm guessing it was his. You start to torture those tires, that's going to hurt their efficacy a little bit. You need to be a little bit careful with that.
And we know once you flat spot the tires, so easy to do it again and again and again. The more you do it, the more you have that flat spot that grabs every time you're really trying to get that big brake spike to get the car wound up in turn number 5. Through the kink, there's the gap between 1st and 2nd. Abel closing. Not done yet for P4, though, as Reese Gold's got work to do. He's got to try to defend, and he's swerving all over the place right now. Reese Gold, left, right, left. I guarantee you Braden Eves on the radio there. Another brake lockup. Here's Eves
big
to the
move
inside,
here.
side by side. It's an outside move. Braden Eves, book it. He goes to P4. What a pass.
That was beautiful. And, you know, all that defensiveness that Reese Gold was throwing at, it just opened that outside lineup, and Eves good enough to just park it around the outside.
So Braden Eves up to the 4th position. Move Reese Gold back into 5th. Final lap this time by. A white flag being shown here at start-finish. And you can see Gold trying to stay in that draft. Pretty good lead here for Manuel Suleiman at the line, coming across to put lap number 14 in the books. It's a half a second advantage. Does Petrov have anything more, or is he going to get challenged by Jacob Abel?
I was going to say Abel is there, and Gold taking another big look at Eves as they headed into 1. But, boy, what a beautiful round-off move that Eves put on. But Gold not done yet. He's there.
Hunter McElroy, Hunter McElroy trying to get by James Rowe as well. That will be the battle for 6th position. Look at this. What a huge run here for Jacob Abel. And there's as well Reese Gold right on Braden Eves. You know Eves is going to stay on the inside of the racetrack coming into 5. Look at Abel thinking about trying to find a way by Jacob Abel. And it's Eves down the bottom. Reese Gold will try the over-under coming back up the hill, no doubt about that. Thinks about it, not quite able to get that done. Abel putting the pressure here on the final circuit. Eves, having got by over on the outside of Canada corner, now his hands full trying to hold off Reese Gold.
And Suleiman looking in his mirror, seeing Abel absolutely attacking on Petrov, and the grin's getting wider because that's slowing those 2 guys down.
I love the fact that we've got 3 different teams in the top 3 as well on the podium positions right now. Juncos, Exclusive, and Abel Motorsports, 1, 2, 3.
Nice parody, yeah.
I love it. And this has been the best we've seen. Career run here for Jacob Abel, no doubt about it. He's shown speed throughout the season, but really maximizing here and trying to execute to get himself onto the podium. Final run down through the kettle bottoms. Artem Petrov not quite close enough. This is going to bring him right back into the championship fight with Rasmussen out of the race as well. Through Canada corner, no challenge there. All it would be is a potential run through 14 and getting that draft up the hill. But I think Manuel Suleiman looks pretty good here, Greg.
I do too. He's just been great through and out of 14. Petrov, couple of car lengths. He's got to get a better run than that. Now, Reese might have a shot at a draft up this hill if he really gets his exit right down there. But here comes your winner.
Indeed, tremendous run from Mexico City, the victor in the opening round of Indy Pro 2000. Manuel Suleiman for Juncos Racing taking the win. Artem Petrov second. Jacob Abel on the podium for the first time in his road to Indy career. A tremendous run, fast lap of the race as well, a 2:05.650 for Jacob Abel. Braden Eves moving his way forward, started 9th, avoided the wreck up at the start of the race and then able to get up to 4th. Really solid for Braden Eves. He may take the point lead actually here, Braden. We'll have to see how things shake down. Reese Gold ends up in the 5th spot. James Rowe in 6th. 7th, Hunter McElroy. 8th, Hunter Yaney. And as we said before, Jack William Miller, Christian Rasmussen, Kiffin Simpson, and Wyatt Prokopchuk all out on the opening lap. That incident in turn number 3.
And, yeah, thinking about that, and Braden Eves starting in 9th, yeah, obviously the cars, there were some cars that promoted him up the order, but those 2 passes later in this race to get him up into that 4th spot and earn those additional points, that could be pivotal.
Great to have Devlin DeFrancesco joining us here on the broadcast. Got some great insight there. We tried to pry into whether he's going IndyCar racing or not. He wasn't going to give up anything again. Here are your unofficial results. Eric, I'll pass it over to you. I'll head down to Victory Lane. I'll let you guys run through the order one more time.
All right, absolutely. Manu Swallow, your winner. Artem Petrov, Jacob Abel coming home on the final step of the podium. Brady Eves in fourth. What a great pass to the outside, doing it the long way around, Greg.
Oh, man, rounded him up. Just absolutely beautiful. And for Abel, he qualified third, faded a little bit, and then came storming back late in the race. Talk about building confidence and showing what he's capable of.
These Cooper tires, you can kind of abuse them a little bit and then back off a little bit, let them cool down, and then get that second run. And that's looked like what Brady Eves really was focused on doing at the end of the race. He drove a really good, patient, final about 4 or 5 laps there, just trying to save the tires to get to that point and then put the attack back on.
Manage the tires, be quick at the end, take advantage then. Yeah, absolutely. It was beautiful. And Reese Gold, he's a young guy. He got schooled a little bit today, but what we've seen from him all season is, that's now into the data book.
Learn.
He's not going to repeat that stuff.
You learn. You continue
bet.
to learn. James Rowe in the 6th spot. Hunter McElroy, what a good recovery from that starting spot that Hunter had in the 7th spot. Hunter Yaney in 8th, and then unfortunately the 4 cars involved in the incident over in turn 3. Jack William Miller, Christian Rasmussen, Kevin Stimson, and Wyatt Burkacek. Again, not quite sure the total story that happened over in the turn 3 area. It just looked like one of the cars had gotten outside and then collected the balance of the field there.
Yeah, well, you run wide over there, and it's that classic, almost trailing throttle oversteer thing where you drop the tire, and it's the same effect as lifting suddenly right there, and the back end pivots, rotates around, and suddenly you're just right in the middle of the track. Cars are coming, and that's how it goes sometimes, and it's unfortunate, obviously, and all the drivers that were involved, you feel terrible about it, but for Christian Rasmussen, worked so hard after that tough initial race at Barber, get his way up into the point lead, putting together a string of wins and the like. But for him now, he can look back and go, well, I did it once, and there's lots of racing yet to go, and I'm not that far back in the points. I can do this again, but still, it's going to be tough.
What he's got to do is he's got to start putting together a string of podium finishes, top 1, top 2s, and have some other folks struggle a little bit. There's a good look at Manuel Suleiman getting ready to unbuckle, take the steering wheel off of that Juncos Racing car. In the Road America victory lane, climbing out. And again, just like in our USF2000 race here in Indy Pro 2000, you have a pole sitter for both races and a race 1 win, looking for the weekend sweep tomorrow. Pumped up, obviously, and that team is no stranger to going fast here in this series, as well as great to see them continue to succeed as well with Juncos Racing. Those guys are great as well.
And look at the passion, Dan Anderson right there. I mean, he's been doing this forever, and he still is in Victory Circle celebrating with those drivers. Such passion for this, and thank goodness for them. And what they've done, Anderson Promotions, over the years, as you take a look once again at those results. But yeah, just absolutely delighted. And for Manuel, we were talking about it. He was second at the St. Pete round 4 of the championship, second of the St. Pete races. Hadn't had that win yet, and man, he got one in fine form from pole. And he starts at pole tomorrow, so he knows he can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that you look at, again, we've talked to Rob several times about this, is the development of the full program. Devlin DeFrancesco coming in, sitting in the center chair here for the call of that race. What great insight! But offering drivers that opportunity to kind of to learn a little bit about the media side of things and then understand what happens in a race call as well. It's all about that 360-degree look at the race program. Not only are they developing driving skills, obviously the car remains the constant. Everything else outside the car can become a distraction, but it's also a learning environment. And I want to thank Devlin again for coming in here as well.
Yeah, I mean it's just great, and I love it. That we've had, Rob's had throughout the season a number of these drivers from the other parts of it come in and sit in. One, give them that experience, obviously, but as you said, it kind of lets them see our side of things here. What broadcasters, what announcers like to see, like to hear, what they like to know about, and at the end, if you just sort of fold that into your marketing strategy and your package, it's it's just going to get you that little bit more recognition, and all of that's really huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Waiting for victory podium here for the Indy Pro 2000 presented by Cooper Tires. And looks like Rob Howden all set down there. Rob?
Thank you, Eric. Indeed, ready to go here with the drivers in Indy Pro 2000, the program presented by Cooper Tires. Good battling up front. We actually had about 2 or 3 really good hardcore man-on-man battles for position. All told, some pretty exciting racing at the end. Driver coming home in 3rd place today, his first ever Road to Indy podium, fast lap of the race, got right in there and was battling with Artem Petrov at the end. Folks, how about a round of applause? 3rd place today, Jacob Abel. Awesome run. First podium for Jacob. Finishing in 2nd, putting the pressure on throughout the entire race. Just not quite enough to get by. It seems like they were a bit faster in certain areas. But coming home in 2nd place for Exclusive Autosport, Artem Petrov. But I'll tell you, this driver needed to have a big weekend here, and he started it already. He was 90 points back of the championship coming in. Christian Rasmussen, point leader, had an issue, so he's able to move his way forward, getting himself back in the championship discussion. The winner today for Juncos Racing, Manuel Suleiman. All right, Manuel, quick little question here before we get into the champagne and such. Man, you needed a race win like this. You scored a victory last year. We're going to Mid-Ohio in a couple of weeks. You raced there as well, won there. How much does it mean for you to win here today and get back into the championship fight?
I mean, the team did a great job since qualifying. And, yeah, we put it on 1st place on the race, so we're looking for that tomorrow also. And, yeah, keep the momentum in the championship. We had a tough weekend, but with this one we started well, and we continue like this.
Nicely done. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Manuel Suleiman, folks, my winner today here in Indy Pro 2000. These drivers just a couple steps away from the NTT IndyCar Series. And again, enjoying themselves down here in Tatis Victory Lane. The 22 Telcel Juncos Racing Machine right in front here of Manuel Suleiman, driving that thing into Victory Lane after a tremendous run. Pressured throughout the entire race after we went back to green following that opening lap incident. Artem Petrov kept the pressure up throughout the race. He was quicker in maybe the tighter stuff, and it looked to me like, and as Devlin DiFrancesco told us during the broadcast, that Manuel really strong, getting out of 14, out of 3, and out of the carousel as well, able to get carry that speed all the way down, although Artem put the pressure on. They found some speed in that Exclusive Autosport machine as well. Tomorrow's race, tomorrow morning, is going to be exciting. We'll see whether or not Manuel can once again capitalize on a pole position, as he was P1 in both qualifying sessions. But again, also one of the big stories here, the career best run for Jacob Abel. Coming home 3rd spot today. What a drive for Jacob. Put the pressure on late, fast lap of the race. We may see him on top of the podium tomorrow as well. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're wrapping things up here. Going to get our Cooper Tire hats back on. We got the Kids on Track guests coming in to enjoy some time here in Victory Lane as well. 3:05 start time, folks, for Indy Lights as we get back going again. The first race of the doubleheader for the Indy Lights drivers. It's going to be a tremendous battle. 4 points separate the top 3 drivers in Indy Lights, and the championship tightening up here as well in Indy Pro 2000. Thank you so much to all the guys here, the Kids on Track. Thanks for coming out and having some fun with us. All that's left is to spray a little bit of champagne to cap things off the podium. And yeah, the champagne coming out. They're going after Artem Petrov. He's like, no, I'm out. Manuel Suleiman, though, folks, with the victory. 2nd place, Artem Petrov. Jacob Abel wrapping up the podium, P3.
At TopCon, we know a thing or two about a smooth surface. Roads and highways, piece of cake. Airports, let's just say it'll be the smoothest landing you've ever had. But what about when you want to go fast? Real fast? No, faster. We've helped cars go faster than they've ever gone before. Broken a few lap records along the way. Want the best paving performance? Go to the source. TopCon, always one step ahead.
Hey, your Uncle Cooper here. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Goldie, my niece, your cousin, and Goldie didn't know which tires were right for her. The first ones were too much tire, and then the next ones were not enough tire. Anyway, long story short, Goldie found the Coopers, and they were just right. What a happy, practical ending. Go to sleep. I love you.
Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
Welcome back, race fans, to Road to Indy TV Live. We're on the post show with Race 1 USF2000 winner Kiko Porto. Kiko, fantastic race. You didn't lead from start to finish. D'Orlando did get by you, but take me through that. It was so comfortable, it looked like.
Thank you, Parker. Really difficult race for me. You know, it's always very difficult start on pole here in Road America.
Yeah.
We have 3 long straights. So I did a good job on the first start, but then after 3 laps come the full course yellow.
Yeah.
And then all the grid come together. On the restart, D'Orlando passed me. I passed like half a lap side by side with him, so super hard. And then I got his draft, passed his again. But then I opened a little bit of gap.
Yep.
But still very difficult because he's using my toe to catch me on the straight. And his pace is super fast, like 2/10 faster each lap. So, but this time I turned my mode to qualifying mode and only fastest lap. But I'm very happy with this. First winning here in Road America. Last year I lost the Road America race because I can't get inside of the country because I'm from Brazil.
Yes.
So, but I'm very happy with this. I only say thank you for the D-Force team. We are fast all the weekend. The car feels perfect, and tomorrow we'll have one more race.
And if I'm not mistaken, you've taken over the points lead. So how does that change your mentality going into tomorrow? You're starting on pole again. You've got 2 of those pole checks back at the D-Force truck. Take me through what you're going to do tomorrow.
Oh, basically did the same thing of today. Obviously, we'll be different a little bit, different drivers. All the time is different. But I think I have a really good car, so this is the better thing for the weekend. So championship points leader, that's the best thing of the weekend, but we need to still keep pushing. We have, after this race tomorrow, we have Mid-Ohio and New Jersey, so we need to still keep pushing.
Well, Kiko, you and David at D-Force will have to go take that points leader flag and drag it back overnight to the D-Force truck. We look forward to your racing tomorrow morning when you start on pole. Don't go away, race fans. We've got Manuel Suleiman coming up. He's just finished off the podium. I see him. I'm going to go snatch him for you, but we're going to go to commercial break. We'll be right back.
As your uncle, I want you to know that on the road of life, there will be rough spots, and they will chew up your tires. I recently took a road trip to Greensville to attend a chili cook-off. rough roads all the way down. I drove there on these Cooper Discoverer and Duramax tires. You know, they're made with the durability of off-road tires, but for on-road driving. Without them, we might never know the winning bean-to-meat ratio of a good chili. And those are the things in life, my friend, worth driving towards. So go with the Coopers. Cooper! I'm hungry now.
Quick pit stop, and we're back with another race winner. Race 1, Indy Pro 2000. Manuel, fantastic race. Really, start to finish. You qualified on pole, and then you went out and had a dominant race. I'm not going to say it was easy. It was dominant. You got that lead in the start, but then they kind of were staying there. Take me through the radio of that. What was JJ, your driver coach, Jonathan George? What was he telling you as they were catching you?
I mean, it was difficult because we started well, and then we had the safety car.
Yeah.
And we had to restart the race, you know, so it was always a little bit difficult with that, and we managed it well, and we managed the gap and the tires, but definitely it was tough. You know, it was a pressure every lap. We had a good car on the straights, but in the corners it was a little bit tricky, but at the end it was a super car. And we want to continue like this for tomorrow.
Well, I've got some insider information. Those green cars have the least amount of downforce as everybody in the field. So what's that like? Obviously in qualifying it worked out pretty good. Those green cars are quick down the straightaway, but the race, were you managing tires? Were you having to save anything on those Coopers?
Yeah, for sure, man. I really struggle with the carousel, especially mid corners. Yeah. It was tricky, you know. Obviously fighting a little bit with the car. But you know, you have the straight, so you're just focusing on the exits, and and with that we keep the racing and the race very well. We managed the tires also very well, and yeah, at the end we also had a good pace, so that was important.
It was important. So this is the first race you've won where you've started on pole. You've won plenty of races in the past before, but usually you're always the comeback kid. Nobody expects it. You shoot through to the win. Take me through what it's like to finally get the job done when you know you had the pace.
Yeah, I mean, it's important, and especially in this kind of racing, you know, it's very competitive, and especially in this track, you know, that you have a lot of straights and a lot of opportunity to pass. That was important, and I think it was just the focus and the concentration to make every lap the same and no mistakes.
No mistakes. I like it. That is the Manuel of 2021. It's been a tough year. I mean, I feel bad for you because a lot of things just haven't fallen your way. The dominoes have not laid out perfect. You haven't been dealt the good hands, really to no fault of your own. I feel like you've always had the pace. I see on social media you're taking time away from racing. You're kind of taking a break. Is the pressure off now, finally?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, obviously the last rounds, it was tough. You know, we always had a good pace. We were always there, but something out of our hands happened. You know, that was tough. And obviously helps a little bit to get out of racing and you know, come back stronger.
Yeah.
That's obviously very, very helpful, and especially because we're out now in the start of the middle of the campaign, right?
Yeah.
So it's a 9 race, and we want to do the best to the end. So that's the objective.
I'm a little scared for your trophy. It's wobbling. I don't want to. I'll let you hold it. It's wobbling. It's so windy here at Road America. So going into tomorrow, you're on pole. Same mentality, go out and win the race. What's your game plan?
I think we're gonna work a little bit on the car also. As I told you, we struggle with the mid corners. Obviously the straight was amazing, and obviously one more things in my side maybe to pull, and yeah, we just wanna win by far, you know.
Win by far.
That's the main objective, you know. Is keep it clean, keep it concentrated, and win the race, because the Juncos guys deserve it, and I think we have done a good job.
That's fantastic, Manuel. Before we wrap it up, I know you got a lot of stickers on your suit. Is there anybody you want to thank? This is your first win of 2021. I know you've been working hard to be where you're at.
Yeah, I want to thank my sponsors, Telcel, that always been there. JJ, obviously, in the radio, the WBC, Multiquip, Intelligentus, obviously my family, always there to help me in the worst times and in the best times. And yeah, Juncos especially, because they have done an awesome job, and I want to really thank them and for the amazing car and the amazing opportunity they given to me.
Oh, that is awesome, Manuel. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Papa Manuel, his father, one of the nicest guys out there. Your whole family's very nice. So this win couldn't have happened to a better group on the road to Indy. Fans, don't go anywhere. We've got Indy Lights action coming back up at 3:05 Eastern. If you're a U.S. viewer, you can tune into Peacock TV on NBC. If you're a Canadian viewer, you can head to Rev TV. And if you're international, you can stay right with us here on Road to Indy TV Live. Coming up, Indy Lights.